what time it is. It's about to be that time.
Okay, all right. We are live. Welcome once again to another Theory for Theory. All right, we're back to back with this since we're in our break month. It's not break week, we're in the break month. I am joined today, technically by the second time. We didn't do an official Theory for Theory, but Parvision did join us for, was it 1048? Somewhere around there.
Yeah, 1048, 1049, something like that.
Yeah. So Parvision, if you're not aware, is another content creator in the community, a rising star, a new supernova. I like to start all of these with the origin story. I don't think we covered that last time, so let's get the Parvision origin story, man.
For how I started One Piece.
Yeah. So what got you in, and then what brought you to YouTube and all of that as well?
Oh, it's a fun story. So I get a lot of slack for this, but believe it or not, I was anime only all the way up until chapter 1000. So I've been watching the anime ever since I was a kid, like around 7, four kids, the Chopper doctoring, the rap, the whole, yeah. So and so it's been a tradition ever since
LADY, Nami's not shy.
Exactly. So it's been a tradition every Saturday to watch it, and I always laugh about this because me and my wife, we've been together for a very long time, but I always tell her the one thing that's been in my life longer than her is One Piece. And so yeah, and then it's just been a staple. Sometimes I wouldn't watch it every week, things got busy during college, but I'd always make sure to at least move around things. And then what ended up happening was I was meeting somebody, was it April 2021? That's when chapter 1000 came out, and we were introduced as he's a really big One Piece fan and I'm a really big One Piece fan. And so we met, and then the first thing he said, and I didn't know this, was that week was when chapter 1000 dropped. So he's like, did you read chapter 1000? I was like, no, I'm anime only. And then that feeling of not being able to talk with someone who's so hype about One Piece, I was like, all right, I'm gonna first catch up where I am right now and get to current, and then I'm gonna reread it. And then so essentially after doing the reread, for the middle of 2021, I started on TikTok. So I saw a bunch of anime TikTok creators, and I was like, wait, I have really cool ideas. I want to share them. And I had no idea. About the online community. I had no idea about the creators. I didn't know that there was an anime space this big and this large. I just saw it on a TikTok, and then I started sharing. And then, some of the people are from my first TikTok video, and it just blew up from there. And then people were like, you should make a YouTube channel. And I was like, wait, I should make a YouTube channel? And then, the rest is history. It was 1 month after I started the TikTok, I started YouTube. And then here we are. And we could say it now, but next week is the Reverie. And the thing I keep saying to my community is I didn't even have a channel when the last Reverie happened. And now I'm going to be in this Reverie. And it's so crazy to go from not knowing it to now knowing how grand it is, and then also being a part of it. It's it's incredible, Yeah,
and shout out to Noah, super chat and said, shout out to you both. Randy, you were the first One Piece YouTuber I started watching. Parvision, I've been watching since your early TikTok days. Can't wait to watch this. Two Kings. Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that about you with the TikTok. I haven't really explored the One Piece TikTok space. A lot of people have said I should. I mean, I have a TikTok. I've only put 3 or 4 things. I just always forget that I have it.
That's how it is,
Yeah. And then, yeah, man. Reverie is next week, and congratulations on the invite. You're the newcomer. I was one of the newcomers last year. I had a channel when they did Reverie 8, but I wasn't at that one. Yeah, I mean, they've been doing those for years, but it's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
thank you.
It's
I
awesome.
mean, I didn't get to watch the full Reverie yet, but I did. The most of it I saw was with you. I was like, how did Randy like operate at this? Because that was your first one, so now it's like I'm gonna be that. And then you were pretty talkative. I'm like, the thing was, it was really funny. I went into Jay's stream and he was doing like a Reverie thing, and he just like paused and he's just like, Parvision, I know you seem like a nice guy, but at Reverie, you're gonna have to fight people. And if you don't fight people, I'm gonna make you fight people. And I'm just like, all right, I gotta figure out what's going on here. So, you know, I'm super excited.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's a lot of personalities, and there's a lot of people that are really used to just talking to a camera for the most part. So when they start interacting with other people about One Piece, they get really excited, which, you know, I mean, I can relate to. And
Right.
things get pretty hype, and everybody wants to say something, and there's going to be, you know, 30 something people in there trying to talk at the same time. So
yeah.
you just gotta get it. You just gotta get in there any way you can. Yeah. So you just premiered a new video, and that was one of the reasons why this started a little late. I wanted to let that breathe. Let our boy, you know, get get what he needed to get off his chest. And so Buggy Rain God.
I was surprised. I didn't expect you to show up in the thing, and now like I was just like, ooh, are we gonna bring it up? Because like, am I gonna surprise him with it? But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing was the onomatopoeia.
That was the biggest thing for me too. Tell the chat about that.
When like 1037 happened and everyone was like looking for the devil fruit that the Gorosei were hiding, right? Like the obvious choice was Luffy's fruit, but it was more fun to think like, what about this fruit? What about that fruit, right? So I went down the rabbit hole and I was like, ooh, if we're gonna rename the fruits, it's one thing to say like, oh, this fruit's another name, but then I was like, I gotta figure out the name. So I went into like the naming schemes, and like half of them are onomatopoeia, and then like Laws was an exception. It was like the Opie, which is, you know, short for operation. And I was just like, all right, that's a little interesting. There are some like that, but you know, it would make more sense if it was like dismemberment, cutting, and then that's bara. And I was like, wait a second, that's Buggy's thing. And then that's when I hit the block, and I never made the video about it. But then 1044 happened, and now the Yonko thing happened. Now I'm just looking at that whole thing, and it's crazy because if we have Sun God Nika for Luffy, and then, you know, a lot of people already think Blackbeard is some sort of god fruit, whether it's a moon god, whether it's my theory where he's like a void god, if it's earth god, forest god,
I mean,
whatever.
Earth God makes sense since he has the Gura. Like if it's tied to a devil fruit, if they're all tied to a devil fruit, which I'm still iffy about, then Earth God for Blackbeard makes sense to me.
Yeah, and then so then I was just like, all right, if this is the 4, then Buggy might have the rain god then. And the best part of it is, yeah, the bara is the onomatopoeia for raindrops falling. And even more than that, I didn't include this in the video because I didn't want to like explain this, but like it's also like I put the thing in the video right above raindrops was this the sound effect for lightning coming through clouds. That was the number 1 thing. And so both examples that I showed actually had the lightning thing, but I didn't want to like go through and say like he's rain god and then also has lightning. So I just stuck with the rain god part. But and then it also fits too, because it's like, you know, Law having like you know, Law is essentially a god when it's raining. He could do whatever he wants, and we saw that many times, right? It's just like I think the best scene was when the you know, Luffy and Kid and Law are showing off it before Onigashima, and then like Law and Kid, or no, Luffy and Kid like go up to the scene, and then Law just poofs there, and then he goes, "You can't beat me in the rain." And then like that just sounds like he's just a monster in the rain. And so if Buggy can get that power, then he would essentially be that. I don't know, you know, it makes sense to keep Law as, you know, the Opie Numi. It doesn't make sense to change that one because we have so much like backing to it. But considering like Buggy has the same exact power and it's just not explained. And the other part was the chapter 0. We still don't have an explanation for how Shiki got that steering wheel in his head. And the only person present with the power even close to Law's fruit is Buggy. And Buggy had the fruit by then. So it's just, if that's right, you know, it'd be wild. I don't know how the community is going to take it.
I mean, I love it. I also love the idea that, you know, part of the storm in Loketown would be Buggy's fault. Now, you know, it's
He
just
sabotaged himself.
You know, it's just tough because, you know, like, we're all theorists, you know, and we're all battling our own headcanon. And of course, like, my headcanon for the longest is that Vivi is the rain god, because I believe that Vivi caused the rain in Alabasta. But
I believe that too. I believe that too.
But I do love just more for Buggy. Just put everything on it. Just give it everything. I've always wanted, ever since Law was introduced and we saw his power, I was like, okay, Law and Buggy need to meet ASAP. And I mean, it hasn't happened yet, other than kind of Stampede, but you know, that doesn't
How do you
count.
think that would look? Like, I think Buggy just doesn't get phased by Law, right? He just moves around unfazed in his room, right?
He's Law's natural enemy.
Yeah. It's incredible. I can't wait. You know, honestly, I can't wait for them to meet. It's gonna be so funny.
Yeah.
Law's gonna go room, and the Buggy's like, "What room? My room?"
Yeah. What's going on? Why am I coming apart? And then he just puts himself back together.
It's gonna be great.
Shout out to Jay Armstrong for joining. Andrew Connor asks, what is your top One Piece theory that you want to bring to the Reverie? So,
ooh,
yeah.
Should I go first, or you go first?
Oh, hey man, floor is yours. You know, and by all means, you know, if you want to hold anything for the Reverie, just, you know, you can give the people a taste, you know, a teaser.
So to be fair, my whole channel's been a taste for this thing. The Reverie kind of put the like nitrous in my tank, because I had to get now, because with Reverie coming along, I'm gonna get a lot of new viewers. I want to get these videos out before they get here, so they have a lot of things to watch. So my last few videos have been a lead up to this big video about the Void Century, which I won't talk about right now. I also know that you don't like watching like that, like end stage One Piece theories anyways. But question, with the Reverie, do they do like hot takes and like those kinds of theories too?
Well, I mean, sure. And I mean, with Jay being the host this year, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of hot takes.
Yeah. So I mean, I have like a lot, I have a whole thing prepared for like my intro too. Just like one of the hottest takes right now, two of them I guess is, I'll just run it down. It's just Mihawk is a sword, Zoro is a plant, the original Vanderdecken was a mushroom. And I think the I don't know how relevant it would be, but the Nolan was completely set up. But I'd say the one that I would bring up to this is the reaction I want. and so I guess
you made my chain
funny,
fall off, man.
Dude, my theory broke his chain. It's funny because in my last video, my Nolan video, the last thing I said was, you know, I hope I turned your world upside down, and that's exactly what happened. I'd say the best theory that I want to go into the Reverie with, though, if it's on, like, especially when you're talking about Wano, right, is the video that I asked you to watch with, is that the Amatsuki is probably the Celestial Dragons. Like, they were the royal family of Wano that left during the Void Century, similar to the Don Quixote, similar to what the Nefertari was supposed to be like. But the Celestial the Amatsuki were the ones, maybe even one of the leaders of the Celestial Dragons. We don't know, but that's kind of what. Shout out to
the sideways Randy's in the chat.
Yo, you have an emote for that? That's funny.
That was my genuine reaction to the end of 1043.
I thought people clipped it and then it already became an emote, but that's hilarious.
And and I just want you to know that's the first time that I've ever redone that.
It's perfect because that's literally the point of my videos, you know, to get people to like think upside down a little bit, you know? Like the Buggy is a rain god one, right? That's not something most people think about, but now that you thought about it, it's like, wait, hold on. This could be something nice.
Right. But then you say things like Mihawk is a sword and Zoro is a plant. And I'm like, you know.
All right. You know, out of the three, I would say Vanderdecken, the original Vanderdecken and the Mushroom is 100% canon. That one is not even a theory. The Mihawk is a sword is the next one up. And the video is very compelling. The amount of times.
Are you saying a sword that had a mythical like human fruit?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that essentially, we're seeing it. So it's hard to explain. This is why there's a video for it, but as best as I can.
Are you saying that that the curse of the sword has possessed Mihawk and that he is the embodiment of the sword?
That is an option for the theory. That is something I laid out. I was like, this is the option, or Mihawk is the sword himself. Like, you know how Oda has been personifying the swords? We got the Wado Ichimonji, we got the Shusui, we got the thing, and now we're seeing the Enma. The Enma, right? We don't know. He never personified the Enma, right? I don't believe so. Yeah, I don't think he ever did. I mean, that's why a lot of people think the Grim Reaper is Enma. But that being said, on that line of thinking that the Grim Reaper was Enma, that same logic, you just amplify it more, right? Because we're seeing sentient swords. There's sentient swords. Funkfried was one. Then Big Mom has one. But then there's also, I think it's chapter 899 on the cover of 899.
But those are easily explained.
Right. Those are but the point of those is that like progressively throughout the series, right? Ever since like Water 7, Oda's been introducing sentient objects to a point where sometimes it's not even explainable. For example, chapter 899, the cover of it, there's a new giant pirate. I forget his name. He has a shield that just has a face on it. It's not the same design as a homie either.
That's man, I always bring this guy up and then the chat always reminds me of his name. And I generally like know all, 1,000 characters in the show, but I forget him because he's just on one page. But I've used him as a point as to why I believe that even if Big Mom were to die, the homies would survive. And I believe that shield was a gift from Mother Carmel to the people of Elbaf, and that she's the one that like turned it into a homie.
So I explained that in the video. I said that this is an option that Mother Caramel could have done that, but Pandora didn't like persist. You'd think Pandora would persist through that, but
I mean, technically, Pandora is Zeus. I mean, not Zeus.
True. I think it's
Prometheus. Pandora is Prometheus.
Yeah, and then so then once I said that, I was like, that is an option, but then I threw out Rakuyo. Rakuyo, I don't know if you remember him. He's on the Whitebeard pirate crew, and he has a sentient mace. And the mace was a snake ball object that actually bit Kizaru. Like, this is an important object. It bit an admiral. So, like, there's this progression of like, there's these devil fruits that made sentient objects, but then there's also these objects that don't have explanations. There's homies. It's like a progression towards sentient objects. And what I'm proposing in the theory is that of all the objects in One Piece, right? And I also threw out the Mary, right? The Mary was one of the most sentient objects in my mind, because like nobody can explain to me that the Mary didn't show observation hockey by going from Water 7 to Enies Lobby all on its own through a storm. That's observation hockey. That I don't like. It spoke to people. The voice of all things had a Kaboterman, fixed itself. That's a sentient object, if you ask me.
That's why I think when Nami was sick with Kestia, and she managed to predict that storm, like that was. I feel like that was observation hockey right there too.
I agree. I have a video on observation hockey where I kind of expand it outside of what we've seen, because like my thing with hockey, and this is a bit of a tangent, but my thing with hockey is like the show is a shonen, series, like it's combative. We are seeing a lot of these moves, these powers from a purely combative standpoint, whereas something like Voice of All Things is not combative, but you could see how Conquerors and observation hockey could be used in a non-combative way. And so I have a video that kind of explains that in a a different way. But so going back to the Mihawk as a sword thing, right? So the next point was that of all the objects in the show that should have a soul, that should be sentient, is a sword. But we haven't seen that yet. Oda has purposely steered away from that, but he's gone out of his way in 1033 say that personalities, you have to bend them to your will. Like it's so, and then on top of that, Enma on its own almost killed Zoro. Enma almost killed Zoro. Zoro was like, yo, if I can't handle this, I will die. Enma this is a sword that almost killed one of our favorite main characters, right? And so if Enma is that level, right? And this is Enma we're talking about. This isn't even a supreme grade sword. This isn't even the top of the top. What I'm saying is, if there was another level to it, Mihawk would not be the world's greatest swordsman. He'd be the world's greatest sword man. And that's the pun, where it's like, who better to be the world's greatest swordsman than a sword? And then the other point goes to it. There's a lot of things. I don't think I covered everything in the video, but there was a few lines when you look at the Bharatiya arc, I remember when I first watched it, I was like, yo, how did Mihawk end up at the Bharatiya? That's just so random. And then on top of that, he has observation hockey. He knows Zoro isn't strong enough, but yet he still challenged him, similar to Enma. And I made a joke and I said, honestly, Mihawk's test was easier than Enma's. Enma doesn't scale his test to the people. He would just flat out kill anybody who like doesn't have enough hockey. Whereas Mihawk was like, you're too weak. I'll use my kitchen knife on you, And then once he realized that Zoro was, capable, he didn't complete it. He didn't kill him. He said like, no, I need you to grow. I need you to grow to beat me. So what I'm saying is that the whole Bharatiya arc thing was the test that Mihawk is putting on Zoro that Enma did in Onigashima. And when you compare a lot of the things that Kozuburo and Ippomatsu say about swords, they basically say, so in 1033, the first line Kozuburo says, it says, a sword sees into you. And so I took that and I was like, wait, that basically says swords have observation hockey. And who is supposed to have the best observation hockey? Mihawk. And there's a few lines in the Bharatiya arc where they don't refer to Mihawk as a sword or as a swordsman. After Zoro gets slashed, he specifically says that's the most powerful sword. And then there's a few of those lines. And so when you're watching it through, it's like, oh, he's just one with his sword. But now with all this context, you're like, wait, hold on. Maybe he's a sword. Like maybe he's saying this because of that. And then the last part was when you look at how he trained Zoro, one of the oddest things is Mihawk doesn't have confirmed conquerors yet. And it's really weird because you'd think that he would train Zoro to know Conqueror's coding attacks, but he didn't. But what he did train, and this is part of the test, was that when Mihawk first fought Zoro, he broke all of Zoro's swords. And what did he train Zoro to do? He trained
Didn't
Zoro,
break all of them.
Yeah, he didn't break the Wado. Right? But when he trained with Zoro, the specific training that he gave him was to master how to blacken his blades so that they could not break. And I was just like, it's funny that he did that kind of a training because, if Mihawk was a sword, then yeah, of course he would care about his sword, like him not breaking if he was ever. And the theory goes out a little wacky. I was like, yo, maybe this is the the draw and the hook that Zoro ends up wielding Mihawk. At the end of the video, I'm like, that's probably not gonna happen, but it's still a funny thing to think about. It's one of those things that makes you turn upside down,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I did.
And I didn't even get to the thing is, everybody had the response you had, and then they watched the video and they're like, man, I had people who love Mihawk do live reactions. Like I didn't even know them. They're like, I love Mihawk. I saw this video come on feed. And then like I was like, oh no, I'm gonna ruin Mihawk for them. And at the end of it, they're like, oh my god, Mihawk, my favorite character, is just a sword. I had power scalers look at that. Power scalers who were fighting like, is Mihawk stronger than Shanks? And then like they were like, oh, we have to take Mihawk off the list. He's just a sword. Like it's so funny. It's so funny to make these videos. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that may be the most ridiculous theory I've ever heard. That, you know, I mean, in One Piece, anything is possible. Mihawk could be a sword.
There is a starfish that believed hard enough that he became human, essentially. And he's the Louis Vuitton of the verse too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's certified drip right there.
Exactly. Anything's possible with Papag, you know? Like he's there, anything's possible.
First of all, Papagu is a lore dumper, by the way. Like whenever that dude like shows up, like I brace myself because I'm like, this dude's about to like drop some knowledge and nobody's gonna listen.
He's been in like 3 of my recent videos. That's how important his lines are.
He every time he shows up, he just drops knowledge. Love that guy. He's front and center right here for a reason. I have a little pop. Right
Yo,
here.
I respect you. Every time you reference your wall, you know exactly where everything is. It's so dope. That's dope.
Love this guy. Gimme-chan. Love that guy.
Impressions on point.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you want to run the crocodile one again? That's a classic. I love that one.
Oh man, yeah, that was a lot of fun. Trying to figure out what he would say if you ran into Kosuke Sukiyaki. Luton wa doko da? Kosuke Sukiyaki.
I can't wait for it.
I need Crocodile to come back. That's my goat.
Yeah.
I need him.
He's coming back.
We're getting into ancient weapons now, and I need my goat to return.
Yep.
So I haven't read the Road to Laugh-Tale 2 yet, so I wanted to sort of page through that live here and see if there's anything to talk about in that. Have you checked it out yet?
No, I haven't. I just had the cover. The cover is really cool.
Yeah, I'm looking at the cover now. We got Shanks and Blackbeard there. I did see someone posted in the Discord an image of like a prototype version of Hybrid Kaido, which I just
it's in the drop.
Yeah. So there's I don't know if you want to go through this with me while I'm going through it here. And
yeah, sure, I'm down.
Let's see here.
Wait, is this on the second? Like you're on TCB, right?
Yeah.
On the second page, is that the prototype, like the scribbles?
So that's I guess one of them, but that's not the one that I saw. The one I saw was like,
okay,
it was enough to make you say, I wish this was what we got.
Damn, I'm excited. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we go One Piece next to One Piece Deep and One Piece Data. Ooh, we're talking about swords. Maybe Mihawk is in there.
Oh yeah, there we go. Let's get some credence for the boy here.
That'd be wild. If I find a clue in here.
Let's see here. All right.
Oh,
these are so
you...
dense.
Yeah, they are. It's really hard to you have to sit down and look at it.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's a lot harder to react to this live than a chapter for sure. What were you gonna say, man?
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say I didn't even tell you the real reason why I made the Mihawk sword video. I had it in my pocket for a long time. But the reason why I had this video called the Devil Fruit Boats Float video. Hidden Island actually just rewatched it and he said it was really good. But essentially I was saying that because the Mary had a Cloboterman, I was wondering where that would, and this video was like last year. I was wondering how far it would go. And I was basically saying, I think eventually Oda's gonna personify this Thousand Sunny. And so I had a bunch of people send me the movie Red Drop of the Thousand Sunny turning into the thing. And they're like, your theory. I was just like, I thought people were memeing me. I was like, wait, Oda actually made this into like a character? And then in the trailer, it was walking. And I was like, all right, this video is crazier than I thought it was gonna be. And then so because of that, that's when I was like, I have to make this Mihawk as a sword. If the Thousand Sunny is gonna be walking like that, Mihawk is gonna be a sword 100%.
Oh yeah, no, we're definitely gonna get the Sunny's Cloboterman as well at some point. I don't know if that's actually what we're getting in Red. I mean, that would be pretty nuts.
I don't think it is. I don't think it would be like full blown like that. But I think it's another one of those things where it's like like leading up to something that might be canon. Whether Oda does it or not, it's like a storyboard, I guess.
And speaking of Hidden Island, he just super chatted. He's in the chat. He just said, okay, just made it to the stream. Love to see this Clash of Titans today. Big ups to my favorite 2 One Piece channels. Got my Hidden Vision goggles on for this. Par knows. And he donated elite money.
I gotta start using that more. Elite. I like it.
That's an old one. That's an old meme.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Man, these are so dense. So dense. All right, the big scoop's coming out of the Reverie.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so it's saying, all right, so I probably should have read this before so that I could talk about specific things, because this is just like, it's just gonna be a lot of dead air of me going, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna save that, and I'm just gonna go to the images parts, and we'll come back to this later. This does confirm that we do not know who the 10th Titanic captain is. So,
right.
Okay.
Very interesting. Do you have you thought about that at all?
I mean, it's implied that it's probably Aokiji, but I mean,
but do you think Aokiji's sword?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, all right, cool. Yeah,
no, absolutely.
I'm on that boat.
And then, but it'd be interesting if it was someone like Crocodile. Like, I don't see him like necessarily bending his knee to Blackbeard, but like, I just want Crocodile back in the story so bad.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm on the Kaido page where it's showing the different concepts, and I really love the ones in the bottom left.
Oh, okay, hold on, let me see. Oh, the concept gallery, the treasures.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, you see those ones in the bottom left there, where he's got like the dragon neck.
The dragon neck.
Like,
whoa.
I love that. And I wish that's what it was.
Yeah, it looks kind, you kind of have to like use your creative imagery here. It reminds me of Dragon Tales a little bit, but like, using copy and pasting Kaido on top, that's insane. That looks so cool. Wow.
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't see any of this. So the second page is concept versions of the All-Stars. So we see different variations
more or less stay
of
the
King.
same.
Yeah, there's nothing really different here. We get an idea of a hybrid Jack on the bottom.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen a hybrid Jack, have we?
Not really. There was like one panel that could be it when he was fighting Nuarashi. That's about it.
Yeah.
All right, so then we're seeing the quirky flying 6. All right.
Wait, this is so upsetting because all of these other ones stayed relatively the same except for this Kaido one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who shot down the Kaido art? Hello?
I don't know. Oh, look at Ulti. Ulti originally had a Sabo style hat. That's interesting.
Ah.
Um,
Also, is that her tail is supposed to be pointed? That's interesting. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Huh.
oh, we
It's
see
weird.
what Ulti looks like underneath the mask here. We see her mouth and that she has a Perispero tongue.
Wait, where is that? Like,
It's on the
oh,
yeah, where you see Ulti.
yeah. Huh. Interesting.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
do you think we're
there
ever
was a
gonna see?
sorry to cut you off. There was a version of Black Maria as a Stegosaurus.
Oh. All right, never mind about like everyone relatively says. I completely just glazed over that one.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
It's the spider change was a good choice, I think, over
Well,
Stegosaurus.
Well, I mean, it's also like her design was in keeping with the Jirogamo folklore. So, and that's a folklore about a giant spider that could transform into a beautiful woman and then lure lustful men. So,
Right.
and that was a theory that I got, confirmed a few chapters later, when we actually got her fruit, because I was just like, she looks
Can we
exactly
just
like a
pause?
Jirogamo.
I haven't heard a theory that hasn't been confirmed from you. Like, I haven't known you for very long, but like everything that's come out of your mouth is just confirmed in like and these aren't even like you just came. No, these are like I just didn't know about them. And then like that tweet wasn't like oh I got this. It was like I got this.
Hey man, that's why Khaled's my spirit animal.
Yo, another one that it was just absolutely wild. That stream 1053 was crazy.
That chapter was crazy. I love that. I mean, it's just, it's not even that Sukiyaki was Hitetsu. Like that was such a layup. It was just a lot of the more specific things that I said, like that we would see Hitetsu with Robin, like in the poneglyph room underneath the castle, and it's just like,
yeah, locked up.
There we are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know if you I sent you the part right after, but like the moment I saw Robin going down, I saw the Kokeshi dolls. It was already done. It was already done in my head. I was like, this man, this like as soon as I saw that, it was crazy. I didn't even need to see later on. I already screamed out like on the thing, like it's Sukiyaki. Like, it was incredible.
Yeah. No,
and that's also what's cool about like One Piece. Like it's like you predicted it, right? But even though it was quote predictable, you still walk through it and enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Like when a show is predictable, it's not as enjoyable. But somehow One Piece is like you can predict it, and sometimes you're wrong. But if you predict it, Oda somehow still makes it like unimaginably cool. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, I would say that Sukiyaki as Hitetsu is probably more like one of the more obvious things that Oda has done, just because in Hitetsu's Oda box, like literally, in chapter 9, 10, 9, 11, it lists him as a Kokeshi doll collector. Then you see Sukiyaki with Kokeshi dolls, and then you have the room downstairs of the castle with the Kokeshi dolls. So it's just like putting the pieces together. Oda's fallen king trope that he always goes back to. It's just like, yeah, no, everything here makes sense. This will play.
Yeah.
It's just, what is it going to mean for the future? Like, does it mean that Momonosuke can ride with the Straw Hats because he could, reclaim his throne? Does Oda want to go back to that, have another Cobra, another Riku? Or is it to have Robin be in the same room with a person that actually can read and write poneglyphs, because this is the only other dude that can, outside of everybody that was massacred in Ohara. Like, this is the last bastion of the Kozuki clan. So that's the interesting thing here. You know, like what if Sukiyaki gets captured? You know, it's like, it's just, you know, there's a lot of places that we can go from this reveal, and that's the fun part. That's the fun part.
I agree. Can we talk Pluton a little bit, since you brought us all the way up to here? Like you were the oracle who was like, no, this is the exact same. We're gonna be in the basement. There's gonna be a poneglyph. Sukiyaki's gonna take off. Like, you told us all of that, and then did you also expect the Pluton reveal at that same time?
No, but I kind of feel like, you know, if we ever get an answer of what Clover was going to say before he like died, you know, it almost feels like he was probably just going to say the ancient kingdom's name was Wano, you know. And it's just
okay.
And I honestly, like, you know, I mean, is the ancient kingdom Wano? Like, I'm like 50-50 on that, but I actually thought the theory that you had sent me, talking about Amatsuki, you know, the family and all that, I thought that's where you were going to go with it, you know. And because it's like all of
maybe I will. That it's a setup to the larger video. So
yeah. No, I mean, you set up some things nice and basically made it seem as though everything is about Wano, and I feel like that's an Oda thing to do, you know. And it's like, so give the chat a little bit about that theory, so that we can, you know, go in a little depth. I don't want to like talk about something that some people may not have seen.
So essentially, I think one of the strongest feelings that kind of like led me to this idea was that whenever we saw poneglyphs on another island, whether it be, you know, specifically Wano, it was always said to be a Kozuki specific glyph that was written on the poneglyph. And that always struck me as weird, especially when we finally got to Wano. It was like, well, they were the shogunate, like, okay, they have that, but like, you know, but we know the Amatsuki clan was there at the Void Century. So these glyphs were made during the Void Century, but it was Kozuki exclusive. And on top of that, it's like when you know, the Minks are talking about the relations to Odin and the Kozuki, it was said again that they're brothers with the Kozuki clan. And I was like, wait, what happened to the Amatsuki clan? Why aren't we brothers with them too? Like, why can't they be included? You know, I always felt really weird about that. And then, you know, as we got through Wano and we saw no Amatsuki members, right? We did, Higurashi told us that when Sukiyaki was born, there was an Amatsuki daimyo, but we never got to see, we didn't see the other three clans, the Fugetsu, the Uzuki, and I have theories on those clans. The Amatsuki one always stuck out to me because it's like the other main part of it was when Toki was found, she wasn't on Wano. She knew of Wano. Her parents told her about Wano, but she had never seen it. She didn't know anything about it. She was wearing the clothes from there. And so if she's off of Wano in the Void Century, that implies that at the minimum, there's a group of people from Wano, not on Wano, but the extension of that was, well, it's a Void Century. There's a war. So like, you know, if you're not on Wano and you're not with the Kozuki and the Kozuki are making their own Kozuki glyphs and the Amatsuki are never included in that, that kind of implies that the Amatsuki were being excluded in a lot of ways. And I talk about it a lot more in depth in the video. And so one of the main things was like, okay, well, if there was a society of people from Wano outside of Wano, then where's the example? And if the idea was that they're celestial dragons, well, let's look at the Marines. Let's look at the world government. And lo and behold, when you look at Marineford, it's literally a crescent moon island. The island is a crescent moon island. And on top of that, the headquarters is a Japanese castle. It's a very similar design to Odin's castle too. It's just a more modern version of it, which would make sense given, you know, them leaving and all that stuff. And there, I had a few other theories leading up to it. Like, I don't know if you knew about this, but there's like a weird panel when we showed level 3 Impel Down, where there's a poneglyph in Impel Down. And
so to be perfectly honest, when I saw that in your video earlier, I've never seen anybody bring that up ever. That's the first time. That's the first time I've ever. So now I need to like go back and I need to look at that, because that was a standout thing for me. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I didn't go in depth in that video because I didn't want to, like, I knew that a lot of people wouldn't have known that. So I made a separate video. It's like Impel Kozuki. And I also didn't know it. Somebody in my Discord came, like multiple people gave me pieces to a thing and they're like, I don't know what to do with this. And then I was like, I know what to do with it. And I made a video with it. And so, you know, and then the idea was kind of like, just to explain that a little bit. One thing that I kind of am curious about is like Impel Down kind of has to be made of sea stone, because like the Sea Kings don't attack it, but it's in the calm belt. And it's a weird thing, because then that means like the Wano kind of had to have some kind of relation with Impel Down in some shape or form, because, you know, who else was, you know, the king of sea stone? The people of Wano. And so one way or another, there has to be something related there, I feel like. And we don't know how old Impel Down is. We do know it existed at least 100 years ago, and it was well established by then already. Morley was already there and made level 5.5 100 years ago. But we don't have any examples before that. But then when you think about it, right? Marineford, Impel Down, and then Enies Lobby, they're the trifecta of places. So if one was made from, if I'm saying Marineford has Wano ties and then Impel Down has Wano ties, the next one that I'm going to be targeting to, this is exclusive, is Enies Lobby, and that's in the you know, larger video. But going back to the Amatsuki thing, I think one of the subtle things that like really hits the nail is like it uses the same kanji for celestial. So we say celestial dragons, but it's actually heavenly dragon folk, and Amatsuki is heaven moon, and they uses the same kanji too. So it's like, you know, it's so subtle. Like, why else would, it's the same kanji, but we say it differently, and it's like a subtle way to like, oh wait, they're the same thing. Oh my god, that's crazy. And so I guess the last thing, if you guys want to watch the video, I appreciate that.
Definitely check it out.
And it's a setup for a larger video related to not just Wano, but like everything. But the funniest part of that thing was the Gorosei. So if the Amatsuki were part of the Celestial Dragons and maybe the original members, and we're still looking for the Shodai Kitetsu, and it's not on Wano because we've gone through Wano and we still haven't seen it. So where's the Shodai? The popular theory has always been that you know, people say Gandhi, people say Gandhi, Philip, yeah. You know, yeah.
So I like the idea of him being Amatsuki Gandhi.
Right. And I've been naming him Amatsuki Zero because it'd be also cool if that was actually like Toki's dad or something. Like, and then that'd be Momo's grandfather on both sides are there. And so that is a synthesis of this theory, where essentially Momo is like way more important than we realize, because he would be the child of both sides of the war, the Celestial Dragons and the Kozuki.
And that's the kind of stuff that I love getting into with, you know, my theories, like that muddiness and everything like that. Let's talk about these two sides. Let's really dive in there. That's what I liked.
Yeah, and I think like at the end of the day, the way we're leaving Wano, like not leaving, we don't know if it's over, we don't know when it's over, we don't know how we're gonna end up, but like, you know, a lot of people are upset about, like, you know, plot lines not ending, like Wano in like intensive plot lines not coming full circle. And this theory would give a really great explanation as to why it would make sense to save these for the last saga, because, you know, then we would get a lot of these answers, like, well, what about Toki? What about these like Void Century things that Wano is related to? Well, if the Amatsuki were Celestial Dragons, then once we get into the last saga and we learn about the Void Century, we're going to figure out a bunch about Wano, which is why, again, like you said at the beginning, having Wano connected to not just like, you know, everything up until now has been leading up to Wano, like even in Thriller Bark with Ryuma, even before that, you know, Ace getting the Vivre card, right? We now know when he gave it to Luffy, that was from Wano, right? And so like all these things leading up to Wano, but I don't think that's where Wano ends. It also just doesn't make sense to have all this build up to Wano just for it to stop here. You know, it makes a lot of sense to carry it on. To what extent, I don't know. But again, if the Amatsuki are celestial dragons, then it just makes a lot of sense. And I can give another exclusive because I haven't made a video about this, but I missed something in that video and I kind of was beating myself up about this. There was another Wano thing off of Wano, and it relates to Nami. Nami's kingdom was Okio Kingdom. Okio Kingdom is just Tokyo Kingdom backwards. And Tokyo, when we look at Wano is like feudal Japan. And this I think you'll like this. I haven't fully fleshed this out. Maybe you'll know more than me. I'm trying to be like more respectful about the history here. But Wano had a shogunate system. But in feudal Japan, there was also emperors, but we don't have an emperor present on Wano, nor did we ever know of an emperor present on Wano, which is really weird. Now, during feudal Japan, Kyoto was where the emperor was. In some regards, the shogun was like the military power, so they held a lot of the power, but the emperor was still respected. And so Kyoto was the first place where the emperors were. And eventually, I think it was in the Edo period. I forget the period. This is why I want to be more respectful of things. Apologize if I got that wrong. But it moved to Tokyo. And Tokyo is the name for the eastern capital. And Okio Kingdom is in East Blue. And so then I was like, wait, Wano is next to the West Blue, and that would be the Western capital. So then is that the conversation we're having? Is Okio Kingdom also an extension of Wano as well? Which is very interesting because Nami's one of the main characters. We still don't know anything about her backstory. What happened? Her kingdom got demolished through some world government interference. We don't know exactly through Bellamir's story whether they were the cause of it, but she left. She had a very similar story as Jaguar, Saul. Like, she was there and then she left the Marines, similar to Jaguar. Like Saul, he saw what they were doing and he's like, I'm leaving. And Bellamir was just like, saw whatever atrocities she saw, whether it was like similar to what Fujitora experienced or what Saul experienced, one way or another, she left, took Nami from Okio Kingdom, which is Tokyo Kingdom backwards, and that's Eastern Kingdom. And then the last part of this thing that this is exclusive, is that if that's the case, then that might mean that Onigashima might have been Kyoto. And what's very interesting about that is I don't know if that would be the name that they would use, but one of the other names for that was used in Japan was not Kyoto. It was the Millennium City. That was the translation of that capital for a certain amount of time. And I forget that they had a long form for that name and a short form. So Onigashima might, and we're still trying to figure out what it originally was named, and it might be the Millennium City. And so that's like the full wraparound extension. That's a part of the next part.
So your line of thinking there is right on the money with the way Oda would normally name some stuff and all that. I cannot wait for just a flashback where we see Belmir as a Marine, and we get and we get some more context there. Years ago, L theory or whatever, I brought it up a bunch of times, but I thought after Thriller Bark that it was setting up Nami to be Charlotte Nami, and that Belmir was going up against Big Mom, and that it was actually one of Big Mom's children, and that's why the Beaver card was important and all this. And I thought that that's what was going to happen when we got to Whole Cake. Instead, we got a story about Sanji's family instead. But you
don't have to call that an L, by the way. It's a theory. That's how theories go.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I guess the only W out of it was that one of the Straw Hats was going to have an important family. But eventually we will get that Void History flashback, and it will catch us up to Toki, right? So when we see Toki for the first time, she has just jumped and she has landed on this island, and that's when Odin meets her, right? But we're going to learn more about Toki eventually at some point, and we're going to see the varying jumps that she does as she's like quantum leaping through time until she gets to that point and meets Odin. And it's like, why is she doing it? What is she trying to get away from, right? And if she is a rebel from her family that has, turned against everything here, and that's essentially what I've talked about plenty of times with what I believe the Ancient Kingdom was in the first place, was a warring between two sides and two clans, because that's just the way that Oda has set up a lot of different things. So I think that if we go to that extent, it could even be that, and then we're saying hypothetically here for argument's sake here, that Wano was the Ancient Kingdom, then it would make sense that Imu also probably came from Wano and was probably the originator of this change as well. So it may not be Amatsuki Gandhi, it may be Amatsuki Imu. But it would be interesting if everything that's happened with Wano up until this point, in the Void history, it was like on the sea level, but then they did something to keep the Amatsuki out after they, did what they did, and they created Marineford, and they had this grand genocide, which I can only imagine was what happened. And to keep them away, they figured out a way to close the borders. Mm-hmm. And then that's why we have someone like Gandhi, who knows so much about Wano and understands the need for Zunisha to open it, because it's possible that Zunisha was responsible for elevating Wano in the first place, right? If Wano is on top of the back of a giant turtle, like, it's been theorized. It could be that Zunisha lifted up and, put all of the islands onto the, the shell of this turtle, whatever. Nothing is impossible in One Piece.
I want to pause there. I would say no theory I've heard about Zunisha is crazier than what actually happened, in my opinion, where Zunisha walked to Wano and then walked out. That I like, if someone asked me beforehand, do I think Zunisha will just leave doing nothing? I wouldn't have said yes to that, So in a lot of ways, that's a little crazier than even like, Zunisha in the past, like putting things on turtles and stuff, I don't know. Did you ever think that Zunisha would just show up and then go back? Like, I don't think.
I figured Zunisha would do something, but I didn't think that they would do anything that would impact the arc. So it seemed weird that Zunisha came because it didn't feel right for the story. I was like, this doesn't make sense with everything that's going on, because it's out there and the world government ships. And I'm like, Oda's not going to do what he did with Jack with Zunisha again. So it's not going to be a situation where Zunisha's going to come in and wipe all these ships away, because that's boring and repetitive. So Zunisha needs to do something else, which is why I was, a fan of the idea of Zunisha being an escape plan, if anything, for the people of Wano, if something were to happen to Wano, Right. So then as a, essentially a ship on its own, and it's got, Zo on top of it, it would have been able to carry a lot of the people of Wano if something were to happen to Wano. Now, that doesn't necessarily seem the case. It seems like Wano is going to stay this way, but it's going to come down to whatever happens with Green Bull, whether there's a deal that needs to be made with him, or he just takes a particular person and leaves. It doesn't matter. But either way, we're going to have to come back to Wano with Zunisha. And it's once again, we're too early.
One way or another, right? Yeah.
Want to get into a couple of super chats here. Shout out to Brandon King, said, yo, Randy and Parr, two of my favorite creators. Do you think Big Mom has any connection to Bonnie and Kuma? They're from Sorbet, which is also a sweet treat. I mean, we can't rule anything out, but I'd say the only connection would be maybe Big Mom's original homeland is Sorbet, because do we know that? Do we know where her family took her and then, dropped her off over at Elbaf?
I don't believe so.
So there's a possibility there.
Yeah. Anything Big Mom Bonnie related, I'm open to. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for more Bonnie information. She's like one of those mysteries. I'm just like, the moment we get something from her, I feel like a lot of codes will be cracked.
Same hair color.
Yeah. Same. Yo, I mean, it worked out, right? It makes sense.
Yeah.
The Thomas stuff.
I mean, that was my big thinking behind Sasaki being Kokoro's son. I really wanted that.
Oh, yeah. I like that idea.
Really wanted that, because we know that Chimney had a dad that, was a good for nothing, and it would have just added so much to the Frankie versus Sasaki fight if it came out that dude was Kokoro's son. Then there could have been some dialogue there. I don't know, missed opportunity.
I love that idea. Maybe we still get it, but Chimney is actually huge for both me and Hidden. We both just like have something. With my Vanderdecken video, actually, I didn't mention Chimney, but I'm going to mention her in the future. But with Hidden Island's future video, we bring up Chimney, and it was a funny conversation when we talked about it. Imagine having like a constructive part of your theory based off of Chimney. It's just so funny.
I mean, I've done it. Movahed said, "Hi, Captain. Great so far. My Captain Theorist invites the Admiral Tinfoilist. So many gag theories. Love it. Shout out to both of you." I mean, I don't know if I would call them gag theories. They're all real. They're all real until proven wrong.
Yeah.
Mihawk's sword included. Still don't understand Zoro as a plant, but maybe later. Keyboard Cat said, "I binged all of Parvision's videos last week. My favorite video for sure is the Nolan one. Haven't seen that one. His king went to a reverie 400 years ago. I love the idea of Eam using the Umi Umi no Mi to create the knock-up stream. That's a fun idea. I like that."
Yeah. The video is an incredible one. I don't want to talk too much about that video. That video, like, if you guys want to check it out, I will be talking more about that in like 2 or 3 videos maybe. But what I do want to say is a whole point of that video was to kind of like, I think there's always been a theory that like Nolan was a D-clan, and like it was just a feeling, right? But there was no like definitive like storyline that kind of said one way or the other. That's kind of the point of that video, and that doesn't state much about it. But I wanted to talk about what you said about Toki going through, and we seeing her go through the thing. I've been thinking about this, and it's being stronger with these recent videos, and a lot of people don't know why. I went back in Vanderdecken and Nolan, and there's a few others, and also there's a channel, that One Piece Talk. They're gonna have a theory out very soon that kind of expands on this. But I think that what might happen is Toki jumped each time to the future, and each time she met one of these legends that we heard about. So Nolan, Oars, like we're gonna see Toki meeting them and then progressively getting in trouble and then having to jump forward until she meets Odin, and Odin's like the one who gave her, like made her feel like that he was going to pull through, right? That was what she kind of said, essentially. Whereas like it was probably like maybe she met Nolan at one point, but then she saw like Nolan got executed, it was one of those kind of things. So it's a soft idea, but like
I love the idea of Toki being at Nolan's execution. I love that.
Yeah, like, and just all these legends that we've heard in the past of these characters is a great way to connect all of them in one quick shot, with Toki jumping through, meeting all of them just really quickly, really briefly. We maybe get some cool information there, but it's mainly focused on the Toki aspect, right?
And that's a great thing for Oda to use that character for as well, because I mean, Toki means time, so use the time character to show us time.
Yeah,
no, I love it. And I love the idea that Nolan is a D, especially considering that I really want it to come out that Usopp is a descendant as well, so that lie in Dressrosa comes true, and that he is actually Mont Blanc Usopp or something. But then it would go even further, Mont Blanc D Usopp.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have their name. We don't have Usopp and Nami's name. That's crazy to me. 1,053 chapters in, we don't know main characters' full names. Got to be something.
Yeah.
We know Cuddy Flam though. We know Cuddy Flam, but we don't know Usopp's full name.
Or Brooks. Crazy. Or Brooke.
Yeah, that's true. Brooks is an interesting one too. An interesting one.
And his
I can't
history.
say
We
much
need more
on
of his
Brooks.
history.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. 3-day trip said, is it possible Chimney ate a smile fruit? Love both of you guys. I doubt it.
That would be upsetting.
Yeah. This dude traveled all the way from Wano back into paradise to see his daughter and then gave her a smile fruit and dipped.
Yeah, that would be the T would with random fruit, eats it, she's just a smile forever.
Yeah. We disconnected for a second there, but I think we're back.
Okay.
Yeah. Dawn Knight 1993 said, Par has the vision, Randy has the heat on feet, unstoppable duo. Next mixtape drop when? Oh, man.
We'll see what we can cook up at the Reverie next week. We'll be there.
Yeah. Explicit content. Viewer discretion is advised. Apparently, Zunisha Doing Nothing was on Fable's bingo card for Wano. So, shout out to my guy.
I laughed at that.
Let's see. Hidden Island said, I would love to see more Marina or Belmir. I also want to see more of Zeph in his prime. East Blue backstory characters need more love. Yeah, I mean, I would love to even see something like Zeph was a part of Rocks. You know, I'd love to see some of these, like, characters that we have, you know, come to know and all that, like even Kureha, like being a part of Rocks, some sort of legendary pirate crew in the past. You know, and I've talked about it before as well, and I think eventually I'll make a video about it, but I would love it if Kureha was like some sort of a moving force in Kaido's life as well, and then that would influence how she treated Chopper.
It makes sense. I mean, she looks exactly like Captain John, right? And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of
savage
connections there. Something that always my viewers hate me for this because I keep on there's one video I want to make, Dr. Kreha and Dr. Hiraluk, because one thing that always stood out to me about Dr. Hiraluk and their conversation was one, Dr. Kreha said that Hiraluk used to be a thief. And I was like, that word is a very interesting word, because the other time that it stuck out to me was I don't know if you remember Doflamingo and Suru. Doflamingo says like he says something like, you're a thief to her, and then she goes, it takes one to know one. And I was like, why is Suru saying this? Like, is this? And then Doflamingo, why are they connecting like this? And then the word thief stood out. And then the other part of Dr. Hiraluk's story, I mean, there's a lot to it, but the one other thing was that he said he went to a last island all the way west, and then he saw something there. So like that to me is just like, you know, he probably made to like Lodestar or something, I don't know, but something really important changed his life apparently. He went from a thief to now, you know, trying to save people as a random quack doctor in Drum Island. Like I don't know what possessed him to do that from that storyline, but it's just one of those, you know, things.
Yeah. To go a little deeper on the Doflamingo and Suru connection, right, is, well, I believe Suru is sword, because Drake is. And
she has one of the best powers, by the way. I love her power.
Just washing and folding everybody.
Well, not just, wait, the other part of it. Oda said in an SBS that her power is the most powerful thing against pirates, because as she cleans them, she cleans their soul. So they become a better person. So I always laughed because like, all right, Doflamingo's coming back as a good person. She's gonna wash him so many times. And it's funnier because like, he's actually fabric. Like he's actually he's a string person. So like, it makes so much sense that she just laundries him until he's a good person. But I don't think it'd be real. Could you imagine Doflamingo coming back with this like a sinister laugh, but he's like a good person? That'd be so weird to receive. Like the Straw Hats would be like, what's going on with you? And then he's like trying to be evil, but he's like still good at the same. I don't know. It's just
Doflamingo is definitely going to come back for the final war, but it's going to be a crocodile situation. But anyway, to go deeper here with this Suru stuff is Suru literally stole like Doflamingo's opportunity at the Opinomi indirectly. You know, she was part of the the main team that was going to Swallow Island, and the island that it was actually on. So, but it could go even deeper than that, right? Because the Marines and the world government could be responsible for the theft of a lot of fruits, and just holding on to that. And it's I feel like it's implied that Doflamingo got the Maramara no Mi from the world government, because the fruit would have appeared on Marine Ford as well. So they I
have another explanation for that, but we don't have to get into that right now.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a fun thing to get into. I like
the
that.
more on topic conversation that this would lead into is that's part of the reason why I think Green Bull is a bounty hunter,
which I love. And I know you put a video out about it. I meant to watch it, but I wanna talk more about that for sure, because once you said that, I was like, you know what? I love this idea without even any sort of context, because we haven't had like a really solid bounty hunter in the story other than Zoro. Zoro is the essentially the best bounty hunter in the story, turned pirate, right? So we need to invert that. We need a bounty hunter that became a Marine. That would be fun. But it's like, what if Green Bull was the single greatest, most notorious bounty hunter in the One Piece verse, and that's what got him drafted? That's just an awesome theory. I love that. If that proves true, I'm so on board with that. The only context here is the fact that he was holding the bounty posters, but I just think it's something fresh for the story.
Yeah, I think the other context that really stuck out to me was that when we look at like the admirals, like Garp, like one of the like more powerful, we see often that they create some kind of relationship on the other side of the law. And you got to ask yourself, where did Green Bull come from? Like, he acts like his showing to me looks like a pirate. Like, he just like, that was the most pirate introduction I've ever seen. He showed up, he raided their fortress, murdered everybody, drank all of their stuff, ate them, pillaged. It was just, that was like, people say Blackbeard's, but no, that was very pirate-like. But it doesn't make sense for him to be a pirate going into the Navy,
and people have the nerve to say that he's gonna get stomped by everybody else.
Yeah, I don't like whether he comes in and creates a ruckus, whatever, but saying that he's not gonna do anything is kind of like, I don't know, like Oda would not show us this, because the story of it was that we just spent 80 chapters confronting the beast pirates for him to in one page take out majority of what we were worried about the whole time, right? To me, that's what Oda was trying to say, like, hey, this is what you guys were worried about, this is what the alliance was fighting this whole time, and then here's the admiral taking them out. Whether or not they were full strength or not, narratively, that's kind of the way it felt to me. It's like, we built up king and queen for however many chapters, and then in one panel they were like gone. But the other part of it was, I think that the relationship that Green Bull and Akainu, like what he said, like, I can't wait to get an attaboy out of you, right? And to me, it's like, that doesn't make sense to become like, could you see Fujitora becoming like someone's lapdog within 2 years? That seems like a long-term relationship extending outside of him joining the Navy. So it almost sounds to me that relationship was established way beforehand. And the attaboy thing is something like, like if I was a player on a team and a coach and I just want to get like approval or something, it's like, oh, I want to get coach's approval. You know what I mean? And so it's like, it would make sense if Akainu being fleet admiral, Akainu being an admiral in general, he's tied to the desk, he's tied to his duties. There's certain people he can't go after. So he's like, Aramaki, I need you to go take out this person. And that was the relationship that they had well before the Navy. How long, whether it's childhood, whether it's childhood, we don't know. But I would go out on a limb and say that's another one of those stronger things that's like, there's a very, like, I want to know the explanation for this attaboy, line that Aramaki had with the
I mean,
and it's not just that panel, it's also the introduction to Green Bull 2. The first line he says was, Sakazuki wanted me to take you out, Fujitora. And then, but Fujitora's like, do you want to? And then Aramaki's like, no, it's fine. I don't want the smoke right now. Like, that's essentially, but his first word was Sakazuki. It wasn't anything. It was, he told me to get you. And so,
right. Which is why I've always said Green Bull needs to be a bad guy. Like, everybody wants him to be morally gray, and then there's the SBS where Oda was like, like, I don't know, like, oh, they may be all, they may all be good or something. I don't want any more morally gray characters at the end of an arc. I don't, I need someone to come in and actually do something devastating that pushes us towards the end, especially if Oda wants to, like, end things. And realistically, Green Bull has a power that I don't know if anybody in the Alliance, like, other than maybe Zoro, could deal with. And that's why I think that Green Bull is going to be Zoro's eventual opponent. Like, it's going to be Akainu versus Luffy, even if it's a philosophical or ideological battle and not something, completely physical, like leading up to, an eventual battle with Imu. But Sanji versus Kizaru, Zoro versus Green Bull. And Aramaki doesn't have to do much. He can keep people away from him with vines. He's a very hard man to touch, which is why he would be afraid of Fujitora, who actually could push him away, push him down, and could fight him from a distance.
Yeah.
So this also opens up an opportunity for Usopp to play a role, because it's really going to be very distance-based to take this character on, which is going to be the fun part of Zoro fighting him, right? Because he has to get close, so he's going to be constantly cutting vines and, like, going after him. But with Luffy now being the sun god and everything like that, even though it's not necessarily literal, but it could be, that poses an issue when you have someone who is a plant, man, right? Because he soaks up the sun. So, and we see him literally soaking up, the environment, soaking up people, soaking up things like that. And, I've got a video coming out during this break, where I'm going to talk about all of the various reasons why Luffy is the person that really should be captured, or, leave Wano with Green Bull.
I saw your tweet in response to Joy Boy theories. I liked your point. The reverse Marineford, it makes a lot of sense. I don't agree with it, but when I saw it, I was like, oh man, this could be what's happening. So you said I don't know who could take on Green Bull, and I just want to, this is what TikTok is for, some quick thoughts. And so I made a joke kind of thing, because I don't think power strength wise it makes sense, but when you think about it, Brook is actually the best counter to him, because he can't suck up Brook. And then he also has ice powers, so Yamato and Brook ice, that might actually be really powerful against Green Bull. I don't know how that plays out, but when I realized it, because everyone was talking about, like, Sanji or Zoro thing, and I was like, or Usopp, and I was like, no, where's the Brook respect? Brook, he can't be sucked up. Like, that's the one main thing that we saw him do to everybody else, but he can't do that to Brook. And then at least,
I mean, heat on feet from Sanji could work. But the thing is that the problem here is that if Green Bull, like, wraps you up in a vine, like that, now the only thing that Brook can do is send his soul out, and unless he can do something with his soul, which is intangible, then Brook, I mean, that would be fun.
Right.
That would be awesome. Like, if there would be nothing to suck, there would be nothing to grab, like, it's just Brook's soul, like, that would be an awesome thing.
I think at the minimum it's gonna be a gag where he's gonna get pierced, and then Green Bull's gonna be like, what? And then Brook's like, there's nothing, I'm just bones, and then he just does his laugh.
Oda is not going to miss that opportunity. That's like almost a given that'll happen, as long as Green Bull shows up to an area where everybody is. Yeah. And I just love the idea that he's like regrowing the vegetation and restoring Wano from being the wasteland that it was into, something green.
Yeah. It's that someone Sai, another creator, he told me an idea would be, like everyone has like their own gag kind of thing, and Aramaki's gag could be that he unintentionally goes around and does good things. Like he doesn't mean to, it just happens. And like that'd be, because if you want him to be a bad character and he's just like, damn it, I fixed everything, that'd be really funny.
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly what I expect. Like that's what he's doing. He's a bad guy that took out all of the the loose threads, the beast pirates, returned the vegetation, and then it's like, but he's really on a mission to like destroy things, and it's and he destroyed the beast pirates. But I just love the idea of the crew getting dismantled a little bit, and it's like when, I guess you experienced this because you were weekly for the anime, but weekly for the manga with the Marineford saga was rough.
I can't imagine.
Well, it was literally, it ended up being pretty much exactly 2 years without the crew. So the 2-year time skip was like we already hadn't seen these characters for 2 years. Now I don't necessarily expect something that long, but something where Luffy isn't the driving force of the narrative, but like actually the crew is. That's what I want to see. So that's where that inversion would come.
I love that. Yeah. That's a video. I think yesterday on my stream I was saying that I'm making a video on the Straw Hats excluding Luffy. I just don't know when I'd be able to do it, but for that, like I saw your tweet afterwards. I'm like, oh man, this is the wavelength, like having a reverse Marineford and having the crew be the focus. That'd be really, because and at the end it would make
I've been
sense, 'cause
talking
we're
about it
missing
for
a lot
months.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like I love that idea. It's dope for sure, because at the end of the day, like we were talking about it throughout the stream, Usopp, Nami, there's still these lines.
There's so much stuff that needs to get handled, and the easiest way to do that is to do it without Luffy.
Yeah. Whether it happens though, it's kind of interesting, because with Wano, a lot of people went in it with like, Zoro, but we got with Sanji, and then it's like it people aren't exactly happy. But that being said, I think we're still gonna get the Zoro stuff. It's just not the way we think it was. I think like I have a few theories I think the Shimotsuki thing might not actually be the thing that he is, which is really weird, but there might be another explanation for it. So it's a very interesting thing.
Getting into a few chats here quick. PXPX said, what if Uranus Pluton is the egg from Roger's ship? Has been speculated for years. They did hide it under Wano, and now it hatches or gets released. Could look like the Kozuki crest. It hiding under Wano and then hatching, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
And let's see here.
Because then I would imagine you could probably foolproof that by saying, like, looking at the ship when they dropped Odin off. If the egg is still there, and they left, then that might debunk that idea.
Yeah, we'd have to do some sleuthing.
Digging.
Lucy B said, even if Green Bull is not strong, he will take Wano citizens hostage to get what he wants. Yeah, and that's why, even if it's not a battle of power, I could see Luffy leaving by choice if he sees the sheer force of what he can do and everything like that. Like there's different ways that it can happen.
Almost like the Kizaru thing, but flipped, right? Like all the crew is leaving, and I would imagine Luffy would be like, take me instead, like stop taking my crew, and then in that situation, it'd be like, yo, stop hurting them. If you just need me, we'll go, like it kind of like a reverse of that.
But even more so, Thriller Bark, Kuma showing up and saying, I want the head of Straw Hat Luffy, and then Zoro stepping in and said, no, you have to take mine. And then it's like, well, I would lose face if I went against that, right? But what if Aramaki doesn't care about losing face, so he's still, it's like he just wants to. I need the Thriller Bark Nothing Happened inversion as well. So there's a lot of things at play here. Emil asked, how do you guys think Aramaki would fare against Marco? Would the flames of rebirth make his plants grow stronger and faster, or would they burn? Well, we do know that Marco's flames don't burn, but we don't know if he does or doesn't have flames that do, and that he has a choice of whether sending out ones that do or don't burn. We also don't know if Marco is still there after the 7 days, because the scene that we saw with Marco, that was 7 days later. So I guess Marco is still there. Right?
I think Marco is.
Because we had Hawkins die, bum, and then we went right to the Marco
Ringo.
Scene. Yeah. So Marco could still be there. And then Wava had made a request for the tinfoil hat,
which that was his fate speech. Dripper scarf.
Let's see. Tinfoil, please. Whoop Slap was the original Joy Boy. All right, his fate speech. Dripper Scarfino was Emu's biological legitimate son. That's why his name was hidden. That was definitely we did get his name. It's Dripper Scarfino.
Yeah, no, I was so upset that I'm just like, I don't even care at this point. I'm just going with that name, like, because I need to put respect on his name. Like all these other CP0, we got Maha and Guernica. I don't care about them. I need Dripper Scarfino's name, but no, you gave it to me, so.
Yeah. Dripper, he came in and created the second coming of Nika. Like he single-handedly changed the course of the story.
I tried to, and Morge did an award thing on his stream, and they were trying to come up with like the MVP of the series. I was trying to push that Dripper Scarfino was the MVP. If without him, we wouldn't have got Nika, right? Like
we would have lost right there.
Like
I
don't know how they didn't vote him.
That's I don't know. Morge and his streams in the mud right now. It's Dripper all day.
It was funny, Jay. Dan, you have one. You have everyone, and you knew where it was. Oh well, you know where Dripper is.
Of course, I know where Dripper is. Of course, I know. Yeah. Sebastian Hurley said, "Par and Randy, Savage Visions on deck. Love to see the collabs. Make sure you everybody likes the stream."
So he's actually from that One Piece talk I was telling you about before, the podcast.
Oh, Sebastian Hurley.
Guys.
Yeah, I think those guys ran into my boy Ugo in real life.
Yeah. They were telling me the story. I don't know the full details, but they told me like a few days ago.
They film at the same studio that my boy does his podcast.
Oh, I went. It's a dope place.
Yeah, in Jersey. Yeah. Yeah, he hit me up. He was just like, "Oh yeah, I met these guys that talk about One Piece." He hasn't watched it. I mean, he's an anime fan, but I haven't been able to get him to. I haven't been able to convert him.
Yo, every time I go there, every time I see somebody new, I'm like, "You watch One Piece?" Because they always hype up the podcast, and I'm like, "Wait, but do you watch One Piece?" And like, "Nah." I'm like, "Man." But next time I come back, you better finish the series by then. Like, I think we got the producer, the producer of their show. He didn't watch it at first, and now I think he started. So we're converting people slowly. That's the main goal of all of the channels, right? Get people on the One Piece grind, right?
Yeah, and I feel good because I've with the One Piece video that I did, I was able to get thousands, if not 200,000 people into the show, and that's my 100%. That's my favorite feat as a YouTuber. That's
your next mission is the live action, right? That's the next big goal, to get the new wave of people in.
Oh yeah. Let's spread the good book. Let's spread the good word. That's what it's all about. Here, I'm gonna take a quick break here. Go ahead, talk with the chat, my man. I'll be right back.
All right. All right, so this is like a scheduled thing on T for T now. I get to take over the chat. Let's see what you guys are saying. All right. Morge time? Wait, is Morge rating? What? Wait, why am I saying happy birthday, Morge? Oh no. Did we miss Morge? No, I don't think we missed Morge. You go the boy. Yo, Sebastian, what's up? How do you guys like the cut for Reverie? I got it a little bit early so it evens out for Reverie. You know, I gotta fix my setup though. I'm not used to daytime streams, so my lighting is bad. Yo, Yamila, how am I doing? I'm doing great. When Randy hit me up, I've been looking forward to this conversation for so long. And what's funny is like, I feel like me and Randy could talk forever. We basically scratched the surface in some of the things. Even my videos, like I gave you guys some exclusive details on my some of my theories, but there's so much more. So if Buggy's Devil Fruit already awakened, what did it trigger it? How do you think it works? I think dire situations. So in my video, I lay out the two situations. One was the Ed War that created the Shiki situation, and then the second one is chapter 99. Chapter 99. He didn't use his awakening, but that was a situation where you see a manifestation of it if you were Rain God. So if you go towards the end of the video, I explain. I basically said, like, you're probably asking by now, you saying he awakened his fruit? And I was like, yeah, I am saying that because he almost died twice. And so if Luffy awakened his when he died, it makes sense that Buggy might have awakened his when he was close to it. Randy, old man bladder. I mean, we're all getting old at one point. Uh-oh. You heard that. You heard me read. I gotta bring up Zoro's a plant. I got, the thing is, I can't bring that up with no like game plan, right? I gotta come up with, I do have a game plan. I could have brought it up with the Green Bull thing. I could have brought it up when we talked about how, when Randy
we were
said,
talking about plants, so.
Yeah, no, so you know how you said there's no other bounty hunters, right?
Well, Jean, there's Jean Ango, the guy from Dressrosa.
Okay, so this will just be a goofy aside to this conversation. If
does this have anything to do with Jean Ango being a cactus kind of guy?
So that was the funniest part. People were like, all right, you're saying Zoro's a plant. You're saying plants can be swordsmen. And I'm like, I went like this. I was like, you're telling me a cactus isn't a swordsman? You're telling me a cactus is not an example of a plant actually this is the
savage.
This is a swordsman. And you know what's funny is
My man
Ango
pulled
is
out
a
the
cactus.
My man pulled out the cactus.
I don't even like it was so funny. The day I had that stream where Zoro's a plant came up, I just randomly found a cactus, and I was like it was just, I had it in my house, I guess, and I was just like, perfect, this is the greatest prop ever. But so if Aramaki is plant related and he's a bounty hunter, John Anglo he's one of the most prolific bounty hunters that we knew of, and he had like a whole cactus get up. And Zoro is the bounty hunter that we grew up with. There's a plant theme at the minimum going there, and it could just be the Marimo thing, but you know, there's some other details there. There's some other details that work out. One of the funniest ones, and we don't have to go because I don't have the whole game plan for this, but I have to fact check. I don't know how I'll be able to do this, but someone told me when I was saying this is that maybe that's why Zoro gets lost all the time, because he's always going towards the sun because he's a plant. And then I died because Luffy's sun god. So then it's like in Onigashima, when he got lost, he walked straight towards Luffy, and Luffy's a sun god and he's a plant. And it's just like, it was so goofy and funny. And now I kind of fell in love with it. And so I'm going to make it eventually, just for the, you know, the laughs. I'm not afraid with making, you know, funny theories. That, you know, it's on brand.
Okay, well, I mean, you heard it here, guys. Zoro's a plant. Nanto yo biganusu. Andrew Connor said, next chapter, Green Bull is going to give us info about Sabo, Buggy, and Warlords. Green Bull could leverage Sabo in order to capture Luffy. I just don't want Sabo to be captured.
I don't think he is.
But there was an earlier super chat saying that the Road to Laugh Tale 2 implied that Sabo was captured. So I need to really need to kind of understand.
All I saw was
this.
a recap of what happened. I read through the Sabo section. It was just a recap of everything that we already kind of knew. They didn't add, I don't think they added any like new words to this.
Yeah. It just says that the paper said something unusual about Sabo. So
yeah, and the way I see it is people ran with the Oda off-screen Sabo. I never subscribed to that idea, but I think what's happening here is essentially they're framing Sabo for some heinous crime that like even the revolutionaries are against. And so I think we see like Makino and Dadan like freaking out because like they found out that he's alive first, but then also he's like committing this crime too. So I think that might be what it is, because then you could probably get a similar type of reaction of Sabo dying versus Sabo becoming a criminal in the world government framing him for that. And it might or might not connect to Alabasta, but I don't think it necessarily has to. I think the Alabasta situation is also pretty straightforward too. And I only came up to that conclusion after my Nolan video. I essentially just think that Alabasta is getting Buster called of some sort, because Cobra had a death sentence at this reverie. I don't know, like
I mean, he came into it saying, "Hey, I'm gonna pull up and ask the Gorosei questions about things they definitely don't want me to ask."
Yeah, and on top of that, the Gorosei are like, "Oh, he's a traitor," and Cobra specifically said, "I want to know what my ancestor did." So it's like kind of like, imagine going to the Illuminati and like your grandfather's a traitor to the Illuminati, but you somehow are a part of it now. And you go to the Illuminati and it's like, "Hey, what did my grandfather do?" And they're like, "Your grandfather was the worst thing that happened to us." That's a death sentence. You're gonna get disappeared. You know what I mean? Like, so and then Garp saying like all the resources are being devoted towards Alabasta. That just sounds kind of like Buster call. That sounds something similar to that regard.
That'd be so wild if Alabasta got Buster called.
Yeah, I think some form of that. At least at the minimum, Cobra was not walking in with his head on straight. He had some screws loose for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Louis Vasquez who said that Fujitora KO'd Sabo. I don't think so, because I mean, we saw Fujitora and Sabo scrap during Dressrosa, and he fared all right. So, and then like he's fire and Green Bull is a plant. Like that's not gonna work out for Green Bull. That's his natural enemy right there.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of powers on the revolutionary side that we don't quite understand yet. Especially Morley's fruit would be really good against Green Bulls, I imagine. Just like fold things over the plants, just push them away.
Or I mean, and it's also a good counter to Fujitora, because I mean, you're gonna push a dude down into the ground that can control the ground. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like gravity isn't really going to mean anything to him.
Yeah.
So.
Why am I seeing poor Chrissy? What happened? Oh, Chick-fil-A. I thought it was something. I thought it was like a thing. It's just
no, she just always wants Chick-fil-A on a Sunday.
I feel that. That's fair. I agree. Same with my wife too.
Oh man. Let's see. Yeah, so I just went through.
Would end up skinny like Queen.
and he'd be too popular at that point. I just went through like pretty much all of the Road to Laugh-Tale. Looks like maybe we got names for swords that we didn't know.
Oh, well, that's valuable to me. I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah, I'm seeing a section here that like just really goes over like a bunch of swords. And then
what's more interesting is, you know, there's a whole debate. People are like, law isn't a swordsman, for example. It is said a sword chooses its wielder. Oh wow, that's a very important line. But then underneath that, we see Kaido's Kanabo is there. Katakuri's trident is there. So Oda definitely, you know, uses sword more generally than the community wants to accept.
Yeah, even Yamato's mace is here, and it's apparently named Takaru.
Yeah, and I think that lends itself to the idea that when Mihawk said any weapon could be a black blade, right? That didn't just mean swords. I meant like a lot of things. So that is I like this. I'm gonna use this a lot more because oh my god, so many people are just like, Law isn't a swordsman, and I'm just like, yo, Law is a crazy swordsman. What are we talking about here?
He has a sword.
Yeah, and he used flame rend. That's a peak. There's not many people that can do that. He used flame rend. He did not use his ability on Hera, Big Mom's like end game homie. He used Reroom on Big Mom. And so unless we're saying he can use like double, like he can make double rooms while he's awakening. No, he sliced through the fire thing just like Zoro did to Prometheus, just like Kinemon did to Borobreath. He did the exact same thing. That's peak swordsmanship. So definitely going to be using this for that agenda.
Do I know Par's shadow theory? What's your shadow theory?
Okay, so I alluded to it in the buggy video. It's my longer video. It's 55 minutes. It's so long. It's very long, but it's long for a reason.
Shout out to Zoe in the chat.
It's what were you saying? Sorry.
Oh no, I was just shouting out people in the chat. So 55-minut theory.
Yeah. So it's that's actually the video that starts off the I won't I don't expect you to watch it, so I'll go through the tidbits. But if you guys want to watch that, definitely do, because this video that I'm saying is coming out in a few days about the Void Century. It loops around from that video. So that was like the start of this like mission, and you know, like a straight vendetta. And I guess the idea is I alluded to it with the buggy video. So if you haven't seen my buggy video, just breathe for a second. Basically, I have a buggy video out that says that he's probably the rain god. If that surprises you, go watch that video. I don't want to explain all of it, or I explain a little bit at the beginning of this VOD too, so you can see it there.
Yeah, we talked about it at the beginning because it's his newest video.
Yeah, so the idea was like, you know, rain, if he were the rain god, right? Because he has Law's ability, and Law is super broken in the rain. And like, just imagine you witness Law and he was just bouncing around in rain. You would call him a rain god because he's just doing all this stuff, right? So that, you know, that is a way where it's like this name makes sense. And in a very similar manner, I think a lot of people were looking at Luffy with Sun God Nika, and it's like, what's Sun God about this, you know? And that's where I came in, and it's a very interesting thing because you wouldn't necessarily attach rubber to sun like that. You know, I don't think a lot of people can connect those dots as to why that makes sense. And by the same nature with Law's thing, you know, him being able to plop through the things, it's like you wouldn't necessarily connect that to rain, but here we are. That, you know, so but, that Shadows video,
800 years ago with a society that had different views on things and all of that, they would look at that and they'd be like, oh, I don't know what a devil fruit is. That's a god of the rain.
Exactly.
Moving around.
Exactly. And so that Void Century video I'm talking about more next is going to explain the sun god stuff a little bit more. So in this video, I talk mainly about his powers, and I end the video with this concept. So essentially, wait, how much time do you have? I want to make sure I'm not like holding you too long, or I don't go too. I want to make sure, keep it concise.
Probably stream for another 10-15 minutes, then I'm gonna eat something.
All right, got you. Same thing. So So sun god, why is he the sun god? And his power is rubber. He morphs to certain things, but one of the main things about his transformation was that he turns pure white. And there's a whole debate because we still haven't gotten the full color of it, but
Yeah.
Kaido said full pure white.
Exactly. And I am part of the squad that says that this man is full pure cocaina white head to toe. Nothing about him is colored in anything. There's no
exactly
pale skin, all of that. All of the people that bought statues and everything across the world, because there are already statues that are out where it's going off of the fan colorings and everything. It's gonna come out and they're gonna have played themselves.
Yeah, it's fun because I've been seeing those things. I'm like, this isn't it. This is not it. We just like it's funny because Oda's probably seeing those too, and it's like, what? This isn't what Gear 5 looks like. Like, it's just like the third party people making the statues, the gear. But so essentially, with that white part, right? There is a connection with the Sulong, right? But the Sulong get it from the full moon. And the thing about Gear
Did you
5,
see my theory connecting the Sulong transformation and Hody and Luffy's Gear 5?
Yeah. I didn't see it fully, but I did. No, I think I did watch that one. After I posted my video, people sent me to your thing, and I watched it after. And that is a great. I think there was a trend beyond just the minks and the energy steroids in getting this white form. I allude to it in my Nolan video actually, tying to ancestry, some sort of like aging thing. I haven't fully delved into it, but the thing that people kind of forget is that the sun is not yellow. The sun is white. We only see it yellow because of our atmosphere, but the true form of the sun is white. It's all light being additive form. A lot of people also say that when you add all the colors together you get black or dark, whatever, but that's when you use subtractive color theory. Additive color theory, when you're emitting light, it turns white. And essentially what I'm saying is I think that Luffy's power is that he in a way is emitting light and he alters shadows. And the reason why this connects is that when we go back to Thriller Bark, we talk about shadow revolution. When Moria put out this he put out this whole concept where if you change the shadow of something, you morph the host. And this whole concept goes back where I forgot. This is how I opened this part of the theory. How many souls do people have in One Piece? Like a regular person, not a devil fruit person. We picked up a random person from like Logtown. How many souls do they have?
I have one.
That's what I thought, but no, it's not. Every person has two souls, one in their body and one in their shadows. That is what we learned from Thriller Bark. So the idea is that the shadow has its own soul and it follows its master soul, the main body. And so Moria's power allowed him to take the shadow and make the master body conform to it. And we saw that full force with Oars. Oars was not a rubber corpse. Oars was just Oars. And even when Luffy's shadow was in him, he thought he was gonna be doing like rubber Gomu Gomu Gatling, but he was just like not doing it. But then when Moria started altering his shadow, he was able to do it, and it didn't affect his body. He was able to do all of that. And what was said was that Oars is more deadly not being a rubber person, but having a rubbery shadow that mimics a rubber person. That was the exact quote. And like the whole crew was like, this is just nonsense. This is ridiculous. Like, how are we supposed to fight this?
Well, he did get the shadow of the man who had the most ridiculous power in the world. Yeah.
And there's a more into like what happens when we removed Luffy's shadow from it. Like, the first thing it says Niku and like all that stuff. So the theory goes into a little interesting place where I don't want to necessarily talk about in full force here about the devil fruits. And I was saying that essentially like there might be a world where like the devil fruits contain the shadows of past people. And there was just a part of a theory where when you're talking about light manipulation, and we're talking about how devil fruit users,
I mean, that's fun because I've always
as-
felt like devil fruits have had souls in them. So by having the shadows in there, and shadows being a soul in itself, yeah, I can see that. All right.
Right. And so one of the other parts of this is like, and keep in mind, guys, this is a 55-minute video, so I'm not doing the whole part justice, but Randy is also, he can piece together more of the things that I'm saying, so I'm trying to keep this faster. But that being said, one of the interesting parts of the devil fruit users is how they get weaker in water, right? And it's not as they get weaker as they get further submerged. And what's interesting about that is that if I'm saying that all the devil fruits are powers based off of light manipulation, so Zoan fruits, for example, you could essentially create a Zoan person by purely just manipulating the shadows. If the Zoan fruit changed the shadow of a person, they would morph into the person. And so what I was saying was that I think Zoans, and again, I don't flesh this out like fully because it's just like a soft theory to get to a final point, but Zoans might be shadow manipulation, Logias might be light manipulation, and Paramecias might be both. And so then through altering different light manipulations, you get like different manifestations and stuff, which gets really complicated, which is why that video doesn't I can't do it justice right now. But the interesting reason for that is that when you submerge people through water, it makes sense that they would get weaker because as you go deeper, light gets scattered more. So, and we know that Oda does, Rayleigh's name is the scattering effect that I'm talking about. And so and I mean, that's in the atmosphere, but in the water, as you go deeper, light gets scattered. And so you're not able to form a shadow as stronger, which is why a devil fruit user who relies on their shadow to manifest their power would be weaker or debilitated. And where this theory really is stronger is the part about Logias. The thing about Logias is that they're an element, right? But the thing is, they still have to have a shadow. Even Kizaru, the light human, he has to have a shadow. That and that's important because if he didn't have a shadow, then he would die. That's what we learned in Thriller Bark. Every person has to have a shadow. That means that no matter what form a Logia is in, they have a shadow. And why is that important? That's important because of the way armament hockey works and the way Blackbeard's power works. Armament hockey and Blackbeard's powers, they mirrored the exact same conversation when Robin talked about it on Punk Hazard and Blackbeard talked about it to Ace. They said that they were grabbing the true body of the devil fruit user. They were grabbing the true body. And so now we're talking about Caesar. Luffy was using armament hockey to grab Caesar. I'm proposing that the armament hockey is essentially what it is it's strengthening your shadow.
Bringing the shadow to the front, and that's why it's dark.
Exactly. One way or another, the shadows are being interacted with. And so because
it's the shadow, that's how you're able to affect a devil fruit user. Yes, that's interesting. I like that.
And so and I go in this huge breakdown into how devil fruit users lose their power. So between Sea Stone, going in the ocean, what's it called? The hockey stuff, and then Blackbeard's power. Blackbeard's power is the most important one because Blackbeard actually removes your devil fruit. And we saw that with Luffy. We saw that with Luffy in Impel Down, where he grabs Luffy the same way he did Ace, and he slams him into the ground. Now, the thing is, with Ace, he punched him, and we don't know if it was armament or not. I think that it wasn't armament because he said it's just a normal punch, and he'd never been hit with a normal punch, so it would make sense. You'd be able to hit him with an armament hockey punch anyways. I think the point of that punch was to prove that, like, you don't have your devil fruit now, I can punch you normally. And so with that same logic, he grabbed Luffy. Luffy's supposed to stay rubber no matter what. And we know that even more now. But the thing was, Blackbeard slammed him into the ground and Luffy still coughed up blood. And that's really weird because if I threw Luffy against the wall, it's not like he would get hurt because the wall doesn't have hockey. The wall doesn't have Sea Stone. The wall doesn't have anything. But he still coughed up blood by being thrown into the ground. Blackbeard was not touching him there. So that tells me that Blackbeard actually removes the entire effect. He was removing Sun God Nika in in that panel. We know now he was removing Sun God Nika. And what that says to me is the way Blackbeard's fruit works is that he controls darkness. And so essentially he's chaining up people's shadows. And it's very interesting because I go more into Blackbeard in that video about how he can have multiple fruits, because a lot of people think like, yeah, it's his body is weird, right? But another interpretation is if devil fruits can be eaten, right? And your soul, whatever, and everyone has two souls, the weird thing about Blackbeard might be that he knows how to control his shadow some way or another. And this is where it gets a little interesting. But essentially what I'm saying is that he didn't eat the Yami Yami no Mi, his shadow did. And that's a really interesting point, because a lot of people say that his thing is a mythical zone, which I agree. It could be a mythical zone. But the main reason why they're saying he is one is because his body doesn't go intangible. But if his shadow ate the fruit, that would explain why. And when we see him in the Ace fight, his shadow always comes from behind him. And never, like when he gets hit by stuff, it comes up behind him and then eats it up. And I was like, wait, if he could just, that part could just turn into darkness and soak it up. Like, why is it always emphasized that it wraps around from behind him? So there's a, I go into more on the shadow thing. I think that kind of like gets you a gist of it. I think you can kind of see how there is some legs to this shadow idea. Again, that was maybe like a few minutes of the first like 30 minutes of it. And so this is where I leak into my mega theory. And this part doesn't spoil you on the Void Sentry part. Damn, I got him to. How many times have I got you to use the soundboard? This is exciting.
Yeah. All right. So, first of all, before you go even further, I love that. Okay, I love that. And I also love it because of how Oda is tying Blackbeard and Moria together. So there may be something there where Blackbeard, in order to fully use his power, may need something from the Kage Kage no Mi, or if he can get someone like Burgess to eat the fruit, if they kill Moria or anything like that, they can actually do this tandem power type thing. I love that. I mean, it throws out the long-standing theory that Blackbeard either already has or will have 3 fruits. But man, God, that's the kind of
fruit.
That's the kind of stuff that I really love. The stuff that's like right in front of your face. We already had Thriller Bark, this whole arc about the shadows, and then the Armament Hockey utilizing the shadow.
Yeah, and the whole arc was to teach us about shadows. Like, it doesn't make sense for Oda to do that right before time skip and not use that really in an important way.
Oh, exactly.
And this is, you hit a trap card with bringing up Moria, because I wasn't going to bring him up, but since you brought him up, he's not called a shadow human. He's called the ruler of shadows. And what is Sun God Nika called? Sun God Nika is the warrior of liberation. But who was he liberating? And so that's where it's like, oh, maybe the previous user of Moria's fruit enslaved all the shadows, and Luffy was, and again, repeating history, he liberated if he can manipulate shadows on his own, then he's the direct counter to Moria being the ruler of shadows, because he's the warrior of liberating what? Liberating people and making them be free of them.
That's why I always bring up the parallels of Thriller Bark and Wano in particular. And I mean, and nothing was more obvious than when Year Fifth first appeared. Warrior of Liberation, right? But when did Luffy really, start liberating everything? When he was the Warrior of Hope, which was the chapter title for Nightmare Luffy. There are those ties there. Those are those ties. And speaking of ties, I just, before we go any further, want to get into my man Ty's super chat.
Oh wow. I'm not listening to the stream, but you have the audio thing, so like I forgot that you have these chads, these giga chads.
Let's see, my man Ty said, "Sorry, I'm late, Captain. How heavily do you and Parvision rate these Road to Laugh Tale releases? Especially since I've heard that some of the info isn't coming directly from the mouth of Oda. and since I can't really recall seeing issues like this being released before. So I'm essentially assuming that the Road to Laugh Tale stuff is the editors compiling a lot of stuff from their notes without revealing anything that Oda wouldn't want them to reveal. And, you know, they obviously know what's coming. So they're like, okay, they're essentially doing what you would see when you're watching a television show, and it's like previously on. And then if you're like me or, you know, or anything like that, you get mad at those previously ons because they'll show a character that you haven't seen in 3 seasons, and it's like, okay, well, obviously, if you're showing this character in the previously on, that means that they're in this episode, you know, or something about this character is going to be in this episode. Right. So I think that the Road to Laugh Tales are working similarly like that. If we read very deeply, I didn't hit that one, but it is about to get spicy. If we read really deeply into the Road to Laugh Tale, I think we're going to see, you know, exactly what the editors and Oda wanted us to remember, because that's what we're going to get answers to. So
yeah, I think maybe in each volume there might be one important thing, like the Vera one from last one. I haven't looked through this one. Maybe there's one thing here, but in general, I think like for content creators, like most of this is probably like we already had this downloaded, but like, you know, Oda doesn't write it for us. Oda doesn't put out these things for us. He does it for the general community who, you know, maybe they don't even read weekly. Maybe they're anime only, right? Like those kinds of things.
And they've already forgotten what happened in big news. And it's like, so, meanwhile, I'm rereading 956 once a week.
right, exactly. So for us, you know, like rating it isn't too fair, but I, you know, from what I'm seeing, I think it makes sense given what Randy just said too, that like, you know, for general people, this is a great time to remind people of certain things before we go into the last saga. And eventually when the anime people come here, get to this point, some of them, maybe not even half, will probably realize that this exists before the last saga starts.
Yeah, and I think the best thing for us, and the thing that actually excites me the most when I'm looking at these Road to Laugh Tales now, is the things that could have been. Not necessarily the breakdown of what's already happened, but what could have been, because it influences what we still might get somewhere else.
Or might not get. That's so cool.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And then shout out to that One Piece talk. Came in here with a big dono, said they act like 2 legends can't coexist. Much love to both of you guys. Par and Randy make One Piece better. Everyone please like the video. # One Piece Madness. That One Piece talk, they have a One Piece podcast. It's on YouTube. Check them out. That One Piece talk.
Yeah, I've been on their podcast. Like they have like a whole studio. Randy was talking about it before. I've been on their at their place two times now. I'm gonna be there later this month in the break month, so I look forward to that too.
yeah.
If you're starved for One Piece, you know, this is the places to go to, right?
Yeah. I just it's so funny that you guys use the same studio that my boy uses. And then let's see here, we had
Zoe with the super chat.
Zoe,
you've just been connected to the Parvision right now. I love that. You know, it's funny about that. Everyone always brings up my intro, and I don't remember because it's copy and pasted over and over. Like, so whenever someone says, I'm like, that's awesome. And then I'm like, oh wait, that's my intro. like, and yeah, it sounds awesome though. Every time I listen to it, I just forget it.
Oh yeah.
Not like forget, but.
Well, Zoe's a big fan of catchphrases. You know,
gotcha.
I had to get Joy Boy to do a, hey, YouTube Joy Boy here for Zoe.
Apologies, Zoe. I mispronounced your name the first time. I apologize. But that Reverie thing, when you did that, I died because he didn't do it, and then you just showed up, and it's like, hey YouTube, Troy Boy here. That was great. That was beautiful. That was amazing.
You know, it's comedy. You can't write that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That was just a layup. It was just like, all right, Joy Boy, you don't want to do it. Hey, Randy, you want to introduce yourself? All right.
Perfect. He set it up. The alley-oop.
Yeah.
Honestly, it seemed like it was scripted. The way you just showed, no hesitation either. You're just like, this is it. This is what I'm doing right now.
It's like I was born for this.
You don't have a soundboard thing for that? You need one for that.
Yeah, I need it. It's like it's like I was made for this. I gotta get Hulk saying that from Endgame.
Yeah.
And a bunch of Thanos quotes. I need those. I need those on standby. They called me a madman. Let's see. What I predicted came to pass.
Yo, that fits so well. Oh my god. You need to redo your 1053 reaction just to add that in. Oh my goodness.
You know, and I have like a folder of a bunch of stuff that like when I was that I have stuff that I meant to put in when I'd had like, you know, like a bunch of hits, and I just forgot about some of them. Just some like weird, you know, just weird funny stuff, but it's okay because we're gonna get other things right, and so they'll get used.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Shout out to Maxo, said, yo, just gonna add this to that Blackbeard covered Whitebeard before taking his fruit. Expanding space for the shadow.
Yeah, that I mentioned that in the thing. Like I said, there's like 90%. If you guys like that theory, I left out 90% of it, and the whole second half I didn't even talk about that. And the thing is, I want to mention it to you, but I don't want to like say it because I know Randy would love this because it's like he loves the poetic stuff, right? And there's like poetry at the end of this. Like I'll just throw out the reference. It's chapter 504. There's like pure beautiful poetry, and I bring up that line all
Sabati
the time.
Archipelago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I said the chapter so that you would know.
Yeah, to come to your own conclusion. You talking about that? Is that when they're with Rayleigh in the bar?
No, that's 506.
That's 508 or 9, maybe. I don't know. 504. Rayleigh's introduction, 500. Yeah. I'll go to it later.
All right. If you guys want to know what it is, go watch the video.
I mean, you've got me intrigued. I might have to give 55 minutes of time to it because I like it. I like it a lot. And you had a lot of mind-blowing emojis in the chat too there. So shout out to Parvision, out here connecting us to his vision. And let's see.
I gotta get myself emojis.
Savage.
Like you got the W.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I saw you have your channel open to joining. Just put the emojis up. I love it, and I like switching them out every once in a while too. So, and then the more members you get, the more emojis you get, and that just makes it more fun. So, there's Zoe again. So if you're new to my channel, I think you have to read that. You have to read the last super chat. That's all you, bro.
Thank you, Zoe, again for the super chat. This is the second one that.
This is the second one. Yeah.
So if you're new to my channel, the way I view the world is making connections. So let me connect you to my vision, the Parvision. It's funny too, because the way I have it, it's like a double voice on the Parvision part. That was a complete mistake. I accidentally messed up in editing, and then I heard it again. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna keep it. This sounds dope.
It'd be like that, man. It'd be like that.
Yeah. That's why I always like when you said the L theory thing, I'm like, no theories in L theory, because like at the end of the day, as long as your theory is like taking components of the story, at the minimum you're bringing components to the surface, right? I could be wrong about Zoro as a plant, or Mihawk as a sword, but you can't deny all the components I brought up, and hopefully that
the
inspires
line
it.
of thinking,
Another theory.
the line of yeah, like even if Luffy doesn't get captured by Green Bull, it's like you can't deny that it would be cool to have an arc that was just the crew and no Luffy, you know. And it's like, and then well, I'll get into all that when I actually get the video out. But
just because it doesn't happen doesn't mean it's an L. That's, you know, and I think the community needs to like accept that. You know, I feel like if you are wrong about the Tama thing, it's like, oh, so what? It was super cool. I mean, you
there was
said
poetry
that it was
to it.
wrong. You said, I think in the video, you're like, I have to take the thing here, and then Artur tweeted out that her family graveyard thing had the same and then I was like, oh my god, wait, you weren't wrong. Like, this is actually real.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, I was actually asking Saeed in the chat because he does translations. I was just like, what do those tombstones say? I need to know this. And he's like, I can't figure it out. I can't see it in this scan. But then when it got cleaned up, then people were like, yeah, this says Kurozumi. So Kurozumi Tama. What was it? You know, but it's funny about your Parvision story, right? Because it's my cousin. He's a musician, Eddie Heartthrob, and he just released a new song today, guys. So if you like Eddie's music and all that, it's on Spotify. It's called Comeback Season. And so the Savage tag was something that we made while we were just messing around in his studio. And, you know, and I was like, all right, get in there, man. Like, I need you to, like, give me a Savage. And then he went in and he was just like, Savage. And I was like, no, man. No. Softer. Like, that's, make it the most, like, unhard Savage I've ever heard. Like, just go. And then it was just, I was like make it like you're making a tag for a ballad.
It's beautiful.
And then it's just Savage. And he just came in, it's just
sounds great.
Savage. And, you know, with the echo, and it's like, it's just, that's how it.
Does your channel know this lore about how that came about?
Yeah, I had Eddie on a stream once, and we talked about it. It was called The Origin of Savage, which may be a members only video now. I don't know. I can't remember. I went through a lot of the old videos and switched them out. But that was a fun one. That's an iconic stream when I had Eddie come through. So it was IRL.
Yeah, I mean, like Maxo is saying, like, he has my thing in his samples, my track or whatever. That Savage sound, like, I can, when 1053 happened, I heard it. I heard the sound playing in my head. Beautiful branding, to say the least.
Love it. Barry said Eddie dropped a new track. Eddie's dropping weekly tracks now. He's so this is his third track in 3 weeks.
That's tough. That's a lot of work.
Honestly, he's had the catalog for a long time, so it's just
shout outs to Eddie.
Yeah,
legend. Does he watch One Piece?
I think when the live action comes out, I'll be able to get him to watch that.
See, that's if you're in the chat and you're against the live action, don't be. You gotta be, if you love One Piece, you gotta support it. Like, I'm on the boat. You can be critical. You can be critical, but you gotta support it. You know, like, it's gonna get a lot of people in, even if it's not like, from our perspective, if it's not great, that doesn't mean it's not gonna be amazing to somebody else, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've shown him a bunch of stuff, so like he knows about it.
Yeah, and
you know, he did the Heat on Feet song, which is on my channel as well, which is just a Sanji generated.
Wow.
Track.
Dude is a multi it's platinum, just like, oh my god, this is crazy.
Yeah. Let's see here. Thanks, Phantom, for throwing that in the chat. Yeah, go check out Eddie. And but he's on YouTube too. He's been doing breakdowns of his songs and stuff as well. So go follow Eddie, go follow Parvision, go follow that One Piece talk. Follow me. Subscribe to me if you haven't. Dawn Knight said live action will allow us to bring more people into the amazing world of One Piece. Sure will.
Yeah. Yep.
And
On my streams when I'm more like chill out, you might see me be more critical of it, but at the end of the day, I will watch it. I will watch it all the way through. I think like that's the least we could do. You know what I mean? And then like I'm gonna be shouting it out every episode. I'm gonna have a watch party for it after, you know, a certain amount of time when like, you know, dies down, because I'm probably gonna rewatch it. It's gonna be one of those things, you know?
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Zoe said the new Buggy video was amazingly hype, and it's part of why she was late to the stream.
I got you. Wait, my Buggy video?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know. It was funny because when I premiered it, apparently Tech King also premiered the same time, and in his thing he had like my video. I don't put Buggy in the thing. I say law, so like you know it's a little thingy. And his video is about law, and I was just like, all right, me and Tech King are just on the same wavelength, I guess.
Well, I mean, Tech King of course would make a video about law.
Yeah, apparently it's Law Week. This is day 1 of Law Week. Apparently, that was his premiere wherever stream. So
Law Week. I don't think it's his birthday this week.
I didn't. I'm gonna try and figure out what
Law's a Libra.
Yeah, because if it's Law Week, then I'm imagining it's gonna come into the Reverie, and so Tech King's gonna bring up Law there.
He's just gonna have the full Law drip.
Oh yeah, that'd be. Oh wow, I'm excited now.
Zoe said, "Wait, have the graves been translated? Did it really say Kurazumi?" That's what the fans in Japan are saying. They're saying that it says Kurazumi on the graves. Saying
it's at the minimum very similar. Like you know, like in terms of this. I mean, it is like you know.
It's got the kanji for Kurazumi on the graves.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not American. It's not the West saying that. No, this is Japan and like our tour. Like they're saying that. You know, it's one thing if I would look at, I was like, this kind of looks like it. No, our tour, you know, I'm not going to run it by him and be like, are you sure? No, we're sure.
I mean, I want more, you know, information about it. I don't want it to just be in the corner, but you know, hey, thanks, Oda. You know, I know you're watching and all that. You don't have time to dive into the poetry of it all, so you just gave me a little attaboy. I appreciate it. See. And
do you think I can make Tekking flip upside down with one of these theories? I feel like I tell Tekking and he'll like, I knew that.
I mean, we'll have to see at the Reverie. Have you ever collabed with Tekking yet?
No, I haven't. It's gonna be exciting.
He's gonna be on vacation, so he's only gonna be able to stop in for a little bit. I think he said in the chat.
Ooh. Damn. All right.
Yeah. Something like that. I think that was something like that. Or maybe that was for the other date. I can't remember.
Yeah. Jay. I've already been bothering Jay a lot because I'm the new person. Well, not a lot, but I feel like I'm bothering him. I feel bad.
It's all good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tekking's East Coast. Let's see. And man, I'm starting to get hungry, but this stream was awesome. I'm gonna pull a portion of this. The VOD for this is gonna go on the second channel in a couple of hours, and then I'll take a section of it and I'll put it up on the main. Leave me a note in the comments what your favorite part was, and you know, if there's enough you know, comments about it, that'll be the part that gets thrown up as the VOD. And then let's see.
Oh no! How do you know that the theory, Momos? That's under the radar. That's I will try to bring that one up because we're probably going to talk about Shanks, so I'm trying to get that video out. That's scary. I haven't mentioned that in a long time. That was like 4 months ago in a Hidden Island stream. I brought it up like very quickly, and he just referenced that. That's wild.
All right. Well, I guess I'll have to wait for the Reverie for that one.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Thank you for having me, by the way. It's funny when I felt like the first time I was here, it was like your chat held you hostage, and it's like you have to bring me on. And we had a good time, but then I was like super loud. So I'm glad we finally got to this theory for theory. It was like Oda gifted it to us too, because like we were saying like, damn, there's no free time, and then Oda was just like, here's a month.
Here's a month.
Go wild.
Yeah, no, and I had a good time, a good chat the first time. I wanted to cut it up, but I was like, but we didn't record the audio separately, and it was just it was a mess. But I hope the volume was good for everybody this time. I didn't see any complaints in the chat. So, and then we also recorded our audio separately, so I'll be able to manipulate it that way as well. And but yeah, no, last time we were talked about heavily the Kurozumi theory. We talked about the Tetsu stuff, and yeah, so that was fun.
That's when I had the mind blow, because I sat down and I was like, oh wow, this is deeper than I thought. And
it was the first time you ever heard the Sukiyaki thing.
Yeah,
which was crazy, because I'm not the only person that's been saying that, so I figured that was just like general headcanon by now.
Well, that's a testament to me saying I didn't even know that the community existed until like someone told me to make a YouTube channel. And so like you had this out in 2020. I didn't exist in 2020 essentially.
Ian Mann super chat. It said, Randy, longtime listener, first time super chat. Shout out to the old radio ants, when people would call into a radio show. I love that. And it's like, sorry if I missed it, but what's the topic that will be most discussed at Reverie? I'm sure it's going to be, like, where are we going from here? What's happening outside, and if I had to guess, probably the thing that's going to be most discussed is how people feel about Wano as an arc at this point in general. And my general consensus is it's not really over, so we can't really judge it. And then they asked, and Parvision, where does Ian get that turtleneck?
So it's actually the proper term is a mock neck shirt. I actually saw it because Tom Holland was wearing it, and then I was like, I gotta get it. So I found it. There's a
my boy.
That's crazy. You have a picture with Tom Holland. I don't know if everyone else knows that. Sorry if I spilled some beans, but it's this is like a Korean styled shirt. So it's the website I got is yesstyle.com. So I bought multiple things, so you can trust it for most of the stuff. At least this one, you can trust it.
Yeah, I would say just type it into the chat so Ian knows.
Oh yeah, good call.
Yeah, which how to find it or whatever. And Maxo laughed the Kurozumi theory. Yeah. But yeah, man, no, this was fun. I was glad that we were able to do this properly. And anybody that was blown away by a bunch of Parvision's thoughts, I think my favorite thing was the shadow stuff. The Miyaka's sword stuff, it was fun. That was fun. And talking about the Rain God. And then I also really liked our talk about just Wano being the source of everything. That and the shadow part were probably two of my favorites, and are probably at the top list for me as far as what I'll cut up and put on the main. But,
yeah, I just realized this is like a buffet like of the videos. We went through a bunch of them. It's funny that we started on the Mihawk as a sword one. I don't even remember how we got there, but that's an incredible.
People in the chat.
It's a fun one.
People in the chat. Oh.
Looks great on you.
Giovanni said, Parvision looking like, honey, where's my super suit? He did have a turtleneck in that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I love that line. I gotta have that as one of my soundboard clicks.
Yeah, do it. Put your little echo on it when it gets a super suit, though. And and yeah, man, tell everybody where they can find you.
So if you're here, thank you for being here, whether you came from the premiere or Randy's viewers. Thank you. You guys are always super welcoming, especially like last time when you guys like brought me onto the call. Really appreciate you guys. And then like also on like, Randy's Twitch and then Chrissy's Twitch, you guys are always super welcoming. So I just want to, thank you guys for that first. My main channel is Parvision on YouTube. I also have a VODs channel. So if you like, you enjoy this time, I have my own streams on every Thursday, and then on the weekends. The schedule's changing up, but it's usually on Saturdays. I do a watch party for the episodes too. So there's a Parvision VODs channel, so you can check out that. And so on that, I also post my TikToks. And as I mentioned to Randy before, TikTok is where I started YouTube, or started One Piece content, and then I went to YouTube. So is a very interesting journey from there. So if you like the short fun ideas, most of my shorts are kind of like made to make you laugh a little bit. So if you're interested on that, definitely go there. And then in the description box on any of my videos, the main place to go to is my Discord, because my schedule is super busy. The rev read kind of dropped on me, and I had this whole schedule planned out, and then I had to update it when the rev read thing happened. So then, because I wasn't expecting it, and then there's the break month, wasn't expecting that, so the schedule changed. So come and join the Discord. There's a lot of really amazing thoughts too, like 3-day amazing thoughts. One of my mods, one of my subscribers, amazing person, and a lot of other people too. So if you enjoy One Piece conversations, at the end of the day, I think 3-day always wants me to say this, is that my channel is mainly to inspire thoughts. So that's why you see like Mihawk is a sword or Zoro is a plant, right? The main idea is like, these are fun theories. One Piece is a fun idea where anything can happen, and as long as you, at the end of the day, you come out of my videos thinking critically.
3 days in the chats.
Yeah, 3 days in the chat is always supporting. And if you come out of the videos thinking deeply and smiling and having a good time, that's what my channel's for. That's what my videos are for. And so thank you Randy for bringing me on today too. This was like the perfect timing too. And honestly, I was gonna ask you for some tips before like the reverie thing, and I think this kind of warmed me up to get into conversational with another creator, amazing creator, the most savage creator, the one who can actually tweet out like 19 different things and get it right. How many other people are going to go to Reverie and be able to talk to like that, right? So really appreciate you having me here and giving me this time.
No, I appreciate that, brother. I love that we got to do this. The first time I heard about you was from Brago.
Brago's the man. Brago's dope.
Yeah, Brago shouted you out at some point. I was like, okay. No. This is basically when you're at the Reverie next week. And by the way, guys, Reverie next week on JD Legends channel. I'll probably do I think it's going to be at 3 p.m. EST. So basically, it would be like right, in like 6 minutes next week. So I'm probably going to do a pre-Reverie stream leading up to it, because it's normally our time to talk anyway. So we'll talk then, and then we'll raid the Reverie or something like that.
Well, now that you know how to do it, I'm just gonna ask Jay the same thing if I can, because I might post a video before the Reverie and then have everyone auto direct over there.
Yeah. So, no, that's a cool feature. Yeah, we didn't know about that beforehand, but you can lead into things. So, Phantom dropped Parvision's links in the chat. Phantom also dropped Jay's in the chat, so anybody that wants to watch the Reverie with all 30-something content creators fighting for their chance to speak, that'll be next week, July 8th at 3 p.m. EST. All right. Yeah. So, the Sanji Summit bias, Jin said. Hey, well, I mean, Yamil said, won't that be hard on my voice? I mean, no harder than doing the 11-hour Morge Reverie.
You were on, like, I didn't watch the whole thing, but you were on for, like, every time I skipped through.
I literally left for just to eat dinner and put my son to sleep, and then I came back, and The only thing I missed was a very toxic conversation about Sanji. And I was like, you know
Oh, I
what?
heard
You know
about
what?
that.
I'm good. I didn't need to be there for that.
That was convenient timing then. That was meant to be. I heard about that yesterday. Glad I didn't see it though. But
Yeah.
damn, that's crazy. It was funny. Jay was like, "We're gonna have a 5-hour reverie," and then and he said like, "Cause Morge did a 7-hour reverie," and I was like, "No, Morge did an 11-hour
reverie." Yeah.
Yeah, and then Jay was like, "What?" And then he fact checked it, and he's like, "Oh my god, I had to do it." I think he said he has because his computer crapped out in the middle of his stream, and so we were like, "Bro, he's gonna have to buy a computer before the reverie."
He's gonna have to bribe his internet service.
Yeah. It was a fun time.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, guys. Thanks everybody for being here. And go follow Parvision, follow Jay. I'll see everybody here next week, and also at the Reverie. We'll have fun. We'll get our ideas off. We'll talk about probably mostly like whatever we see in Road to Laugh Tale next week. Don't know if I'll have a guest, just because we'll be doing the Reverie, so it'll probably just be community chat. Maybe we'll come up with something fun to lead into the Reverie.
Yeah.
All right. So leave ideas for that on our Discord and everything like that as well. So, and that's it, everybody. Thanks again for another Theory for Theory. See you everybody soon. Do I think Buggy's Awakening can split atoms? Why not?
I don't think it. Oh, this is a quick thing. A lot of people bring that up. The thing is, Buggy doesn't bleed when he splits, so nothing happens. So what happens if he splits an atom? It would be perfectly maintained. So I just want to throw that out there because a lot of people were saying like the nuclear Buggy, and I was like,